Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. We are on a delay. In case you didn't know, it is a 1-minute delay. And I'm bringing you our final matchup of the regular season. Hopefully, it's not the final matchup, period. But it could be. That's the reality of today. Is that it's ourselves and another team, the Blitz, captained by Kevin Bordy, Blitz stream. MVL is on that team. Grishuk is on that team. A guy that has formerly played for the Chessbrahs. And he could do his part in knocking us out today. But we also have the exact same task on our hands. Both of these teams in this matchup need a win to stay in the competition. And both teams are eliminated with a loss. So it's really everything to play for today. It is a very important matchup. If one team loses today, they're out. They don't play any more games. They're simply eliminated from the PCL. And the winning team goes into the playoffs. So hopefully keep fighting. What is up, Dr. Lord Mayo? Joe, Wild Hacks. Saw a big reset from J-Bell, almost 3 years. J-Bell, 35 months. Scooter DE, thanks for the 5 months. Joe 010, thanks for the 65 months, tier 3. Just 4 more, Joe. We're getting there. Just 4 more. Hello to Dylan. Chelsea Morgana, Blonde Maestro, Big Dale, what's up, buddy? Thanks for the tier 365 there, Joe. What's up, Neil? Badkins hit us with 10 gifted subs before we even put the cam on. So Badkins has got the energy today. Hope you guys do as well. There really is a lot on the line. If we want to keep watching, the team, if we want to have a chance at first place in the PCL, we need to win today, plain and simple. Casual Dev, thanks for the 17 months. Jumpy Chess, 31 months. J Rebo, 31 as well. And Eufen Bay Raktar, thanks for the 28. Thanks for the 2 months. Where's Magnus? Good question. Unfortunately, we had a little situation. We wanted to obviously have Magnus back, but he was actually, I think I can share this, but he was actually hospitalized. He had a sore back. I think he was diagnosed with carrying the team too fucking hard. So we're not going to be able to use Magnus this week. But we brought in a replacement in Anish Giri. And we've brought back Jordan, who had a great week last week. I think 3.5 points. So we brought Jordan back. We have Anish making his debut. He's always done well for the Chessbrahs. He's a certified professional. So hopefully we can get good performance, good initial performance by Anish. But he's always done well for the Bras. So that is exciting. And we've also brought another debutant, which is Sean-Rodrigue Lemieux. He's an IM from Canada. So he's an international master, but he's really improving. He's a young player. I think he's the most interesting Canadian talent to watch these days. Definitely. I think he's the best candidate for the next GM in Canada. So I'm excited for his performance. He's been on our team before as well. So he'll be also playing, and we have Jennifer Yu back on board 4. So those are our 4 players, ! Roster. If you want to see who's playing on our team and who they're up against, right? ! Score. I'll update throughout, as well as the title with the score as we know it. I have the cams of the players as well. Let's double check those just to see if everything looks normal, because I think players are always jumping in and out of the cams, so it's never super obvious. So I'll just wait for the cams until the games actually start. That's when I know the cams won't change anymore. And of course, ! Format. If you're wondering what goes on, What's this all about? That should explain everything. But basically, it's teams of 4 players on each side. Everybody on this team plays everybody on this team. So there's 16 points up for grabs. 8.5 wins the match. And obviously, this is a huge, huge week. I think this is one of the final PCL matchups to determine who's eliminated and who stays in the competition. Sean is from Quebec. Yes. No more names. 66-month resub. Hey, thank you so much. No more names. 79. Really appreciate the 66. Of course, we could say there's only 3 more months left, but your username has 79 in it. So I'd like to think we have you for at least that long. Hydration Corporation, thanks for the 15 months with Prime. And Abe Froman is pre-ordering the victory song. Abe, I love that energy. Absolutely. Consider it pre-ordered. Nile1, thanks for the 4 months as well. Appreciate that, Nile. So, I'm here with you guys doing the commentary. The game should start very soon. I believe they usually start around 15 minutes after. So unless there's any delays, I think that's to be expected. Vic the man. Let's go, boys, and let's go, Sean, representing Quebec. Shout out to Vic, who also visited the boys recently. Vic the man 6 with Prime. 75 months. Hey, Grilled Peppers. Good to see you, buddy. We got Tom back. Sorely missed. We got that PCL emote for those who are subscribed to the channel, which is basically everyone, right? If you're subbed, you will have a emote that we'd love for you to spam and send your energy to the Chessbrahs team. We are up against some beasts. Seriously, like MVL and Grishuk. Grishuk board 1, MVL board 2. You don't really get a stronger 1-2 punch than that, truly. But we're bringing in our Netherlands hitmen, Anish and Jordan. It should be a close match. But damn if our work isn't cut out for us. Because our opponents have 3 GMs and a young IM on board 4, so we'll see if we can source our points from somewhere. Meanwhile, I'm now going to look at our camera situation here. Make sure we're all set up. All right, we got a few of the people there. Might recognize those faces. Should get started in roughly 5 minutes here. Daxy Poo, thanks for the gifted sub, buddy. Let's get the rest of our players here. Got Sean. And last but not least, Jennifer Yu. Who I think is away from the computer right now. All right, all right, all right. Freddie Patzer, thanks for gifting a sub as well. I know, Joe. It is a different time zone there for Anish, but it should be a good one for him. I would love to play, you know, 6, 7 p.m. That's like probably ideal. Yeah, Jordan's got he's rocking the stash. Got the hoodie on. Reshuk, MVL, Lagno, and Mahel Boyer. Eric says we provide our players with smelling salts. Absolutely. That's not the only thing. It ain't just salts they're smelling. Whatever gets the job done. Some field research from Eric. Very interesting. Perhaps we could leverage that, Eric. Perhaps we could leverage that. Mad Caesar, thanks for the 11 months with Prime. Got some cam adjustments there. Jennifer's back. Other team is stacked. Yeah, but this is classic Chessbrahs, you know? Final hour, time for a miracle. This is where we thrive. All right, we got all the players here. The different setups. It looks like Sean's playing with like his chess trophies in the background. And I believe that is a Pro Chess League Canada Chessbrahs hoodie, by the way. That is a merchandise store PCL hoodie. We got Jennifer playing in front of the fridge, which, let's be honest, if I could have my stream set up in front of the fridge, I would. I don't think I could handle the glare, but the convenience. Let's talk about the convenience here. Meanwhile, Jordan looks like he's at the office or something. He's in a real studious area. Got the textbooks, the books. I saw he has got like this big desk, multi-monitor. And Geary's just playing from the usual spot. All right, let's flip that board. And here we go. The games are on. The games are on. Geary with the black pieces is starting out with a Sicilian. He wants to fight. And boy, is Geary well prepared. Let's see what lines he's got cooked up here. Scene Kerrigan, thanks for the 18-month resub. Let's see if the other games also started. Nope. Oh, this one just did. Go. Pull them up as they do. So we start on the top two boards with the black pieces. And the bottom two boards get white. So the way that the PCL always starts off for these matches is the lower rated players get the white pieces. Because usually board 1 and 2 are higher than boards 3 and 4. That's kind of how it works. This matchup right here, this is an important one because remember, their board 3 is still a 2550 GM in Lucknow. That is not like a, walk in the park first game, So we're cut out for him here. For Jordan. Geary is facing a G3 Sicilian, it looks like, which is not super scary. But it means it probably won't be too theoretical. Hey, Nitsud Prime. What's up, Dustin? I should mention something important. I realized now just because I saw a comment about it. Let me go back to this game here. So, Geary is definitely thinking here. And there's a reason that he has less time. He's spent some time on the clock. But when we submitted our lineup, I think you guys probably saw that Magnus Carlsen was slated to be on the first board, right? Now, because he's not who actually is playing our match right now, it's Anish Geary, there has to be some sort of punishment for that. And Geary is actually going to be starting all his games with a minute less on the clock. So it's important to know that. Going forward, we have a bit of a punishment for what you could call, let's say, like a late lineup adjustment. And I agree with it in general. I think, you have to have your lineup submitted, but then if there are any changes to be made, you want to be flexible. But at the same time, the other team already might have started preparing for Magnus or something. So that's the punishment in place. So Geary starts all his games with a minute less on the clock. Thanks, Nitsid Prime. Good to see you in chat. And look at that, Nitsid Prime is coming in with 93 months. Resub for 93. Thank you, Dustin. Cheers, buddy. 93, big resub, and thanks, Lord Tricky, for the raid there. All right, let's pull up the rest of the games here as I got through my little explanation there. So that's why Geary is starting with less time. But hey, we figured, you know what? We want to bring in the best replacement if we can't get Magnus there. So I think that's the best move we could have made. Here we go. Now we got all the games. Jennifer, you with the white pieces here. Sean with the white pieces against MVL. This is a good opening choice by Sean. He goes for the bishop instead of the knight, which is interesting, but I think he was expecting maybe knight takes, and then he would go b4. So king takes e7 might surprise him a little bit here. Black wants to prevent all these kinds of moves, leave the knight on the better square, and say, look, I'm going to go here, you know, I can castle shortly. There doesn't seem to be any pawn break coming my way. So MVL maybe with a move that surprised Sean here. Not tremendously, but, you know, if knight takes, I think he might have been interested in b4. This does make some sense. Yeah, and this king will make it there. I think we'll see king f8. And honestly, black's position is kind of nice. In this spot here, it's definitely tempting to take the knight, right? Because you want to leave black with that dark square bishop. That's not very good. But at the same time, you do give black an option of this. I don't know if he would actually take it. But at the same time, it does look to play f5 after, so it looks tempting. Could be considered, that's all. But I think, you know, more obvious recaptures just takes in castle. But to me, that's the more positional move. But knight takes e7 is definitely the best move. I mean, you displace the king. How can that not be a good thing? He's going for b4 here. Black is super solid. But when the knight hops into d4, I think for the most part, we'll be seeing bishop takes. And, you know, if he takes back with the e-pawn, I don't think Sean's unhappy with that position. We'll probably need to see h3. Black is really preventing any pawn break here. And Sean says, okay, I mean, there's nothing to do over here. I'm going to go back to the center. We'll leave Sean with that position for now. Okay. Wonder what we clicked there. Clicked Lagno's flag. Go Chess.com stance on the war in Ukraine. Now we got the game up. Let's flip this one. I think it's always... I've seen it happen a few times. One time it happened on probably the biggest kind of stage, which was, I think it was the CGC. It was either a CGC or like, I don't know, like Speed Chess Championship or something. They really have to make these flags like not clickable. Because Danya has, like, it's just so easy as a commentator to click it because you're trying to navigate between the games. I'll tell you one thing, guys. I've played the Caro-Kann a few times, like, just on stream. Anytime I get in a position where I can't take a pawn back immediately, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of panic sets in. A little bit of panic sets in. Like, right here, we're gonna castle. And yes, there's bishop takes and knight takes eventually, but to me, if white hangs on to this pawn over here, that's more than enough compensation. So I feel like I have a lot to learn here as well, like how these guys are gonna play the position, because I feel like good players take your pawn in the Caro-Kann and they just keep it. They just keep it. Like, what the heck? It's so annoying. So I'm also paying attention here because I'm wondering what how Jordan is going to play it. Like a6, take, and try to take this back. Right now, you can take here, but you're still not winning this pawn. And takes here, of course, we would always take back with the pawn as white. Instead, adding more pressure. And the good thing is that this pawn isn't on b4. If it was, we would be in... Well, there'd probably be some issues. So Jordan wants to get a pawn back. Right now, it's looking like it wants to be the e-pawn. But remember, you can't just walk in and take these pawns all the time because there's a pin at the end of the day. Knight d2. And if bishop g6, I believe we will see f4. I'm curious what happens after f4 here. I mean, there's f6. Wait a minute. Oh, I got carried away there. I was thinking, I mean, this doesn't work, but I was thinking this, right? Just for a second, I was like, wait a minute. It doesn't work. You know, I wanted something like that, but of course, white's not going to be that cooperative. a6 played, and if the bishop retreats somewhere, then I think we can move this knight and take a pawn. So that I understand. That I understand. And if bishop takes here, then queen takes, and we're going to take this next turn. So, okay. It looks like Jordan, at long last, will get that pawn back. And this bishop looks fantastic on this diagonal. So, up a little bit of time here, getting his pawn back. I like what Jordan has done. Let's jump back to Giri's game. I think we saw it here. And by the way, this line, like, very forcing. Knight takes, e5, queen takes, queen, bishop g2. I'm assuming this is theory. Computer is always going to be like, hey, black's fine here, but I'm not sure that's so obvious. Bishop a4, knight e4, knight b5, and okay, Giri gets the bishops. Immediately goes h5, h4. And for me, so he plays e6. Now in this position, f6 is the nicer, like f6, g5 is great against that bishop, but I think the long-term issue is this guy doesn't join the action. So we see e6, rook c1, and you know, it's concerning because there's pressure down here. All white has to do is move a knight, and black is a little bit slow developing. So let's say bishop e7. I'm wondering what white is going to do there. This knight should move, I would expect. Knight a4. Castles. That seems okay. Yeah, that seems okay, honestly. So bishop e7. Any issues with that? I'm not sure there are. Bishop c5. He wants to take, but guess what? There's a minute and a half on the clock for Anish. He started with less time, so that has to be said. But he's also invested more time. Mahel has, 5 minutes here, tons of time. I don't think Anish is that much worse here at all. But it's all about whose pawns can get rolling first. Pawns are technically equal, but white has a 3-on-1 here, and black, well, essentially has like 3-on-0 right here. Possible. So very imbalanced, which I think favors the higher rated player in general. But it does mean both sides are going to have winning chances, and that's certainly what you can expect from a match where higher rated player has the black pieces to start off. Okay, let's jump into Jennifer's position against Grishuk. Time is about even, which is great. Let's have a look. And Grishuk, again, higher rated player. You got to make those decisions sometimes. He chooses to double the pawns and play this position, which I understand. f5. It's captured. Knight f4. And I mean, king b2 is going to get played. Probably rook e1. I have to say, Jennifer's position not only looks good, like I like it, but it also looks easy to play. It really does. Thanks, Lancelor, for the gifted sub to Lord Tricky, who came in with the raid earlier. Thanks, Lancelor. He does have less time every round, Lisa. I think that's the point. Yeah, 1 minute off every round. Okay, so I love Jennifer's position here, but I also know that the whole point of this by Grishuk is to take some risks, right? After e5, I suppose this is the, you know, this is the only move you really think of, right? Where else does this knight go? It just doesn't really make sense to put it anywhere else. So I imagine we'll see this unless there's another in-between move I'm not seeing. For example, this, right? Bishop there. Could have been a move. Not sure it was necessarily good, but could have been an idea. So there was something to think about there. Takes with the bishop. In my opinion, understandable. Taking with the pawn doesn't really look right. But I think Grishuk will be happy enough to trade these bishops, which will happen, and then play knight against bishop. Now, it's not a bad position for Jennifer, but this queen will move somewhere once the bishop's trade, of course. This is an idea for black. Also this. You know, if white plays f4, black plays e4, gets a protected pass pawn on the light squares. So I do not think this will be a simple position for Jennifer to play. Not at all. But I do think she's just fine here. She's had a good game. She's up on the clock. She's playing Grishuk, so, I mean, the sky is blue. But still. Good things. I think she's been playing well. Having a good game to start off. Let's jump into Sean's position. Things have really simplified here. Knight h4, queen trade. Knight comes back into the action. a4, but it does allow the knight to get to c3. Takes. The king getting to the middle. Sean with the white pieces here. I think he's done a good job. Like, pretty resourceful. Bishop d4. Knight f5. b5. I think black is pressing. Knight against bishop. We'll see what Sean can do here, but definitely black seems to be pressing. Like, if white plays d4, you know, there's an e4 square, also a d5 blockade square. Black would love a position maybe with all the rooks traded off, or maybe rook and knight against rook and bishop. What black doesn't want to do is trade knight for bishop. That's for sure. That's a trade you don't want to see. g4, kicking the knight. Knight d6 looks ever so tempting. But we may see knight e7 to d5. So I think knight d6, yeah, I was going to say bishop d4 I thought was his intention, but hang on. That knight gets to c4, and all of a sudden it's uncomfortable. Knight d6, bishop d4. But now the knight's on a great square, and this is classic knight against bishop. MVL is now in command, I want to say, attacking a3, and it's like, if you have to play something as passive as this, it's not like it's dead lost, but it's dead lost. I think if I had to play the best move here, I'd be looking at rook f5. But man, you even have to put up with rook e3 check there. So not only is this a threat, but a3's hanging. Ugh. This position just got really bad all of a sudden. King there is nothing. Rook f5. Yeah, I mean, this move was nasty. And I don't think he wanted to allow rook e3 after rook f5. I don't know. So obviously giving this pawn up with check is no good at all. But I think it had to be done. So this game just got pretty bad. Sean's still fighting, but I think in command is MVL. Over here, what is happening? Takes b4, knight e4. Taking advantage of knight d6 as a possibility. And it looks like that rook endgame might actually favor white. Interesting. No knight takes a6 played. You didn't want to allow rook d2. But now, maybe there's some semblance of an initiative for Anish. You need to move this bishop and get those dang pawns going. He's got less than a minute, but guess what? His opponent had a huge time advantage, right? 5 minutes to 1 minute. And now they're both at 30 seconds. Tons to play for here. I love the prospect of black's position. The bishop should be better than the knight in these spots. The pawns do not roll very effectively for white. And if black plays this, you know, f5, f4, all of a sudden it's just like, the pawns can be super scary here for black. And look at the time. Oh my goodness, he barely made a move here. White is starting to play a little passive, a little slow. We might see this from Anish. Also just bishop back to make way for the f-pawn, depending on his priorities. Yeah, I think he wants the f-pawn to go. There it goes. I'll be surprised if we don't see rook c6. Wow, okay, we see the knight first. That's very weird because it allows rook d2. So I think after takes here, we probably see this pawn push. f3 as well. This will get the job done. I think Anish is going to win this game. And the pawns just started mobilizing out of nowhere there. Bishop f5 threatens this. Just getting the king involved. Really feels like this is kind of a serious threat. So let's see how it proceeds. Remember, b2 is also hanging. And it looks like he just missed that idea. The same idea that I was talking about. And it looks like check and mate. We'll just stick with this game because it looks like Anish is putting his opponent in the dirt there. Very nice win from Anish. Great to start out with a win for him, of course. Let's see here. Jordan's game does look very drawish. I mean, he's up against a 25-50 GM with the black pieces. I wonder if there are any chances here, but it definitely looks like, I mean, if white wants to draw, white's going to get a draw because white is the one pushing with this pawn. So this one looks drawish. I want to get back to Sean's game just to check for a sec, but yeah, it does seem like MVL, 2 connected pass pawns, has great technique and more than enough technique. b2, he's going to resign. I mean, he sees this move is happening. The only move is to take. This one is done. So wins from MVL and Anish. It's evened up 1-1. Jordan's game does look like a draw. Just jump back to it for a second. Things can still happen, but it does look very drawish here. Rook c7 could even take it. Like if you go a4, you have to be careful about rook c7 here. Make sure you've got that move covered. Rook back to d8, for example. Yeah, and I think this will be drawish. Jennifer Yu against Grishuk. I think she's doing the right thing. I'd love to see this king just kind of get a little safer. G4 has been played. It looks like voluntarily. Yeah, this is what I was expecting. You're going to see the H-pawn run. Black's going to get that counterplay going. Just want to stay with this for a sec. Okay. Jordan has won a pawn here. This is not irrelevant, you know? I think he'll go to e7 and rook d7. Okay, so Jordan can play. So I'm going to stick with Jennifer Yu against Alexander Grishuk. This is the game to watch. Obviously, this is a game that could affect the first round result the most. It does look like Jordan should be drawing his game, but got to give him some credit for winning a pawn there. And at least, I'm not saying he has good chances to win. Of course, Lagno is going to make that draw every day, but he's given himself a chance. Professional guy. Took his extra pawn, and he's going to play it. But this is the game to watch. 20 seconds for Jennifer. I think she's really been playing well. Like, this has been definitely one of the better games from her. I think that's the right idea. Black is no doubt going to play this, this. I can see Black's next couple moves. I wonder what Jennifer can get going here. There might be some sacrifice to get the queen involved, but it's not going to be in the next couple moves. I think that's just like maybe a future idea. Knight g5, rook f2 for the moment. Por favor. Let's go. Go for this set here. A threat, unfortunately, easily defended. And I think, are we going to see that? No, rook h2. Interesting. I'm watching out for this pawn. If bishop takes, no, rook takes, rook d3 to guard things. e4. I'm trying to drum up some threats for white. There's one. Can this be yoinked? Think, oh, takes. Tricky. I feel like Jennifer played some tricky moves there. Ultimately, oh, this pawn is going to be loose now if you move the rook. Or take immediately. Hang on a sec. This pawn is loose, and all the pawns are on dark squares. Hang on, this is not easy at all. I'm not sure we can take that. No, the pawn endgame might be losing. You have to go in here, but then the king gets here. Ooh. I would go there. Tempt that, because now I think you're forcing this. Maybe not. I think she has to try this. She's doing the right things, forcing Grishuk to find moves. d5. Very good move, because there's no time for this. And time is ticking down. Wow. Just the wrong decision, I think. Takes king e4. This is going to be losing. It didn't matter if she took that pawn. It's amazing. Grishuk, so tricky. There's no saving this now. Damn. It was this moment right here. Obviously, we have the help of the eval bar. But after c4, it's really not my first instinct to take this pawn. But that's the way you draw. It's weird to think about, but the seconds on the clock, I have to admit, my first instinct is to take this. Now, I immediately reject that because I see after I take that king e4 happens and I can resign. But I have to admit, my first instinct is to take the knight because it makes sense. Then you win the pawn. But after thinking for a sec, you realize that you actually need to take on c4, and the king can't take because of the knight, and the knight takes, and you take here, and I mean, you're going to play this for a while, but this is definitely a draw. We might have got a little bit fortunate there because, by the way, couldn't we have done the exact same thing? Like, she saw this line. Why not take the pawn first? We could have done the exact same line. And now this is like, you know, this is the easiest draw, and maybe even more than a draw, right? I could see a win happening here. So not only was there an instant draw on the board, but in my opinion, I mean, this is not an insane move to see. In fact, it's kind of the point of queen e7. Jennifer turned this position into a chance to win, potentially, with bishop takes pawn. I think white's completely lost here. This looks like unassailable. But after e4, I thought rook d5 and maybe there was tricks. She played the much stronger move, bishop f4, which I wasn't noticing. But take this pawn first. And just do the exact same thing. We're going to queen this pawn. And then stop this pawn. And we're like picking up, I don't know, at least it's a draw. There's no way it's a loss now. Because if the position that she had where the pawn was on d6 was pretty much a draw. Then take the pawn off. Of course, we're just doing better and better. So this is like, this is serious. Like, this is a real attempt to win, and definitely a draw secured, I think. So bishop d6 is that's a tough miss, but even still, I think she was pretty resilient here. And it's just with these GMs, these 2700s, it's never over till it's over. It's truly never over till it's over. And right here after c4, which was not playable, well, he tried it anyway, and it paid off because now she realized takes king there, loses, so you have to stop king there, but then b5, like it's all dead. Oh, this is really frustrating, isn't it? Gonna update the score. Jordan drew his game, so I think it is a 2.5 to 1.5 round for the Blitz. Not the worst round for sure, because Jordan with the black pieces, I think he scored a good result, a draw there. Anish got a win on board 1. Jennifer, I mean, the story of the Chessbrahs PCL is almost results from our board 3s and 4s. Almost results. Sean was doing well there, but okay, he was up against MVL, who just outplayed him with the knight against the bishop. That's going to happen. But man, when things got tricky, Jennifer, you was up to task, handled the time pressure well, found all the moves, missed bishop d6, but okay, you're going to miss those during the game. The worst miss is at the very end when you've done all the hard work and it's just cashing in the result. B takes c4 and we can agree on a draw. So tough to miss those opportunities. So I'm going to update our commands here, score and all that. Two and a half to 1.5 for the Blitz after round 1. Let me catch up with the chat here. Sorry about that. I was yapping. Molmshog, thanks for the 39-month resub. Dabcat716 for 10 months. Tim Cannon gifting a tier 3 sub. Thank you, Tim. But more importantly, Tim coming in here with $200 and says, please enjoy these Wild Hacks poker dollars. Oh, I feel like I should be thanking Wild Hacks. Thank you, Tim. $200. Always a pleasure playing with house money. Thanks for the support, supporting the PCL team, supporting the channel as always. Tim, hopefully we can put that $200 into the results for the team and say that you were an early investor in the result. You know, you brought in $200 when we lost the first round, 2.5, 1.5. So you got in at good odds. We're the underdog right now. Exclamation mark fantasy. We don't mind being the underdog. Geary with a win, Jordan with a draw, Sean lost, and in the end, Jennifer, you lost her game as well. I think the next game's starting in about 2 minutes here, guys. 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah, the exclamation mark streamers command is definitely one of the funniest things. And Hickey says some funny things, but this is easily one of the funniest things that I've heard. Let's just be honest. I've won so many things. So many awards out of things in my life. I mean, it's... I can barely even start this without laughing. Like, I can picture him saying it and everything. This is so funny from Hickey. Let's just be honest. I've won so many things. So many awards out of things in my life. You really think I'm going to get super angry about not winning this? I mean, let's be serious. Let's be serious. People get mad at me for saying this. But if you look at, like, Levy, look at Botez, or people of that sort, they're never going to win anything when it comes to chess. That's just the reality. Cooking them? Am I cooking them? Chad, am I cooking? What do you mean I'm cooking them? I'm not cooking them, Chad. I'm not cooking anything. I'm not in the kitchen, Chad. I'm streaming, Chad. I'm not cooking them, Chad. What am I cooking? Just hilarious. Go Mattis. I agree, Eric. I think if Wild Hacks won some poker money off Tim, I don't think we'd be seeing 200 buckaroos into the stream. But Tim Cannon, just a different kind of guy. Just built different. Thank you to Tim. Someone says, can you turn off Jordan's cam? My girl is coming over. I'm sorry I can't do that. I'm afraid I can't do that. Yeah, people of that sort is a highlight for me as well. Because he didn't have to say it. He could have just said Levy, Botez, but he added people of that sort. It's easily the funniest part because it's so unnecessary. The message of what he was saying didn't need that, but he added it. Let him cook. Tier 3 can toggle cams. Yeah, if you got a girl coming over, sub at tier 3, and you can toggle Jordan's cam on and off. Big tier 3 benefit. I know that that's one of our top used privileges. Waiting for the next games to start. Man, it feels like there's been an extra long break this round. I can see the main broadcast. They look like they're about to get started, though. It's an interesting comment from Hickey, people of that sort, because you could interpret that in many different ways. But the way that I interpret it is certainly like below GM for starters. So if you think of other people in the community, John Bartholomew, Eric Rosen, I'm sure those people are also included, just not named. And I really wonder, at the bottom of my heart, where the line is for Hickey, where you'd be like, people of that sort, people not of that sort. And I wonder where Mon Hambleton is. Because I swear to God, I have to be the closest person to like either side. I'm so close to people of that sort, but I've won a few things. I've won a few things, you know? Canadian Open champion, you know? Canadian Youth champion, you know? But I think it's just teetering. Like I'm like the closest person on earth to people of that sort or people not of that sort. All right, we got another round underway. think I am the bar. I swear to God. I am the line. I represent the line. A4, A5. Geary with the white pieces against Lagno. If Lagno draws this game, then... Like, I think, personally, I think this is a must-win game. There's a lot of ways that you could break that down, but I think it's a must-win game because you think of Lagno, she's the board 3 for the Blitz. If the board 3 starts off by drawing our board 1 and 2, I mean, GM 2550, she's the favorite, big favorite, depending on if you're talking about board 3 or board 4 on our team. But for the last 2 matchups, all of a sudden she's a sizable favorite. So I really think that this this particular game here is super, super important. Jordan, meanwhile, is playing Mahel Boyer, board 4. He's got the white pieces. But I think Geary and Jordan, with the white pieces here, we're looking for a 1.5, that's for sure. You always want at least a 1.5 from your top 2 boards in this situation. But I think what needs to change is our bottom boards have to score. I thought that Jennifer played one of her best games in the PCL period against Grishuk there. I really did. That was a good game. She was very tricky and resilient towards the end, but you have to play a complete game against these super strong players. 2,700 giants. You can't just play, you know, almost all good moves and then a slip up at the end. It has to be a complete game. And she never quite got to that complete game status. But now it's Sean's turn. He's going to have the black pieces up against Grishuk. We know Grishuk is, you know, a good friend of time trouble. Sean was managing his time pretty well. And from what I know about Sean in general, I think he's a pretty quick player. So I don't think that will be a big issue for him. But Jennifer and Sean need to produce, you know, half a point minimum in these rounds against the higher rated players. Against boards 3 and 4, we're looking for them to start putting points on the table. And hey, if they can win these games, that's a huge, huge benefit for the team. But for the moment, half a point to start. Let's at least get a draw on the board. And all the games have started. MVL against Jennifer Yu. Here we go. Symmetrical English. I'm going to jump back just to Anishi's board for a sec because I don't know what's going on. A4, G5, A5. And, I mean, A6 is kind of a threat, so black stops that. Bishop E3, D4. And black played the very odd-looking knight takes E4. Now, we've all seen these tactics where you take in the center and play D5 and you win a pawn back. Or you win a piece back. But I haven't seen it when black's done like H6, G5. White's already castled with every minor piece developed. D5 takes, and I don't know. I'm kind of wondering what's happening here because black's going to have to displace the king. Well, no matter what, honestly. And if you take this way, you know, I was looking for a second at bishop f7, but of course then it gets defended. So if you take this way, trade here, we can bring a rook to d1 if we want. And then I'm looking at this knight. Like, takes here. If you trade, takes. I mean, the knight's under attack and this pawn is loose. So it definitely looks good for white. But it's got me wondering, like, what the next move is. Ooh, never mind. I was going to say some sort of e6, but doesn't seem very special. Yeah, probably knight d2 to try to take that. They made some moves here. Oh, and it is knight d2. Okay. Bishop f5 can be played, but f7 is hanging. So is this pawn. And if black takes there, I guess the idea is something like knight takes, you know, rook d1. But perhaps it's even nicer to take on f7 here. Stop the king from going that way. Prepare rook d1 with knight c4. So actually, maybe bishop takes f7 is the tricky move. Nevertheless, Anish appears to have a great start to the game here. Like bishop takes, knight takes e5, bishop d5. I think we're close to winning a pawn already, but I'm sure, I have a feeling there's even better than that available as well. So I'll leave Anish with this position. It looks great. He's also up time despite starting downtime. Remember, he's got that 1 minute handicap every round here. So I like this. I'm going to leave him with that position for the moment. Jordan, let's just back up, see how we got here. He's against Mihail Boyer. The board 4. Okay, and black voluntarily gave up the light square bishop. You gotta like Jordan's position here, I think. 2 bishops for the moment, and this move is always just like that. Yeah, d7 is c7. This move is always available to challenge that diagonal. He's playing simple. He's up a little bit of time right now. Bishop b6. Well, now, of course, we've got this move available. I was going to say, I'm anticipating this, and white just piling on the pressure here. Because remember, bishop takes on f6. You're about to win a pawn in the middle of the board here. And that could happen quicker than you think. For example, rook d8. I mean, it could honestly happen right now. Takes. There is rook d8. And there is a great bishop here with a threat, but for the moment, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't cash in that early, but I'm just saying, I think it's at least something to calculate, right? I see rook e2, I see 95. I'm not thrilled by this, but that's how easily this pawn can drop off. And I think that Jordan is just going to like build the pressure on that pawn for as long as he needs to. Keep in mind, knight e4 will just lose a piece due to the pin. The pin means this pawn is essentially not protecting it because it can't move. So knight e4, we got 2 pieces there. Black only has 1, so we're not counting that. So again, I do like Jordan's position. I like Anish's position. Anish looks like he might be bordering on being much, much better in his game. Whereas Jordan, I just slightly prefer his position, but he's got a 2-minute time advantage. Let's go to our bottom 2 boards, our boards 3 and 4. To see how they are faring. Looks like a very timid game so far. Both of these guys are around 6, well, almost 7 minutes. h6 played, stopping knight g5, which is often a move. Knight g5 is kind of annoying. Threatens mate, and you have to play g6 or knight back. So h6 looks like a good move to me. Rook d8, bishop d7, rook c8 ideas. Maybe you could go b6 and bishop this way, but that always seems wrong. It's nice to have a pawn on b7 against that bishop. So pretty even here, but it does look like Grishuk has the slightly more harmonious development, which is kind of what you sign up for when you're playing against these Catalan systems. e5, bishop e3. Takes, and time to get that bishop out by the looks of it. Rook e8 also not a bad move, though. Just overprotecting this. So Sean, once again, not a bad position in any way, shape, or form. I think he's done well out of the opening, but I do slightly prefer white's pawn structure. There's no doubt about that. You know, white has access to a few squares there. There's a little bit of pressure on this. The bishop stands a little bit better for white. So I think Sean is doing fine, but I think Grishuk has a good position. I'm not going to lie. I think white is slightly preferred, but This isn't anything too serious for Sean. So out of the opening, being slightly worse, I don't think is too bad. And jumping to Jennifer's game. Down on time here is the first thing I noticed there. This looks kind of like some theory. D5, yeah. So normally bishop d6 gets played so black can play knight e7. Otherwise, the move bishop d6 looks a little bit odd. Let's stop bishop f4. But guess what? Takes, queen takes, and bishop d1 is coming. That's the plan. She decides to take. You might see rook here. And meet this with f5. Because if it was white's turn and white could play that, I think black's in serious trouble. f5 loses this pawn. g6 loses that pawn. So you need an answer to this move stat. Knight b4, you're losing this. You can go knight a5, but I mean, the queen just probably goes back. Or sorry, the queen actually just goes to g4. And I think this is what white wants. Queen g4. Now, I'm definitely looking at this move. And I'm noticing bishop b1 now. There's always knight b3. Meanwhile, bishop takes h6 is absolutely a threat. Needs to be addressed here. Queen f6 is the first move that comes to my mind. Maybe queen f5 to trade the queens. Also, bishop takes f3. But whenever you play this move, you have to think about the move knight e5. Because queen f6, knight e5 is such a natural reply. MVL is playing natural right now. You know, he's just recycling the pieces to the side of the board where he's attacking. I think his play makes a lot of sense. As black, I'm kind of interested in playing this move as well. But for the moment, I have to watch out for that. Which has me thinking, you know, is that really a move? King h8? So this move was my first instinct. And knight e5, to me, just needs an answer. So knight here. I don't know, rook d8. Because remember, knight here kind of threatens knight d7. A little tricky move there. Knight e5, absolutely. I think a rook to d8 is needed. This rook, I really want near my king. So I don't feel comfortable doing that. I think knight f7 is just lights out. So I'm definitely thinking more this rook so that this doesn't do much. She's decided to take and go queen f5. Interesting. This is a very committal decision. I think MVL is going to be very happy with this. Takes an e6. I already can say that white has to be a bit better. Like, this is a dream for white. You don't have to take it. You could just bring the queen back, but I think MVL is going to take. You can chase this knight away. Has to block the bishop. E6 is available. This looks like a position where, unfortunately, I want to say, like, MVL's got to be super, super comfortable with this. So I'm not a fan of queen f5 or take and queen f5. But when I saw this move, it either has to be rook d8 or you kind of have to take. So she was between those two moves. MVL is going to take. And I think some combo of e6 and b4 is... I just think is super unpleasant. So I really dislike that decision. I think MVL is much, much better now. And I'm going to jump back to our top board. Annie, she's playing some wonky stuff here. Bishop f7 was played. Bishop back. Bishop f5. Rook a4 to win this pawn. And here, maybe h3 was an option. Just to not deal with any of this. He decides to take. And after knight g4, he's inviting the complications. Rook check, bishop d4. Saying, go ahead. I've got a g7 bishop hanging. And if you take me... I was going to say this rook, but I am not sure that works. It's like close to working. Not quite. Here, if bishop takes, I was thinking rook d8 check. or bishop e6. But now I'm thinking maybe bishop e6 is better because bishop takes, rook d8 was my first thought. Takes and bishop here. Then I realized, wait a minute, we can just go bishop here. And after king there, bishop takes knight is actually not the move. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking bishop here and takes because there's a checkmate threat. But after king here, we can also take this bishop, and that's way better. Now there's no pawn hanging. So that must be what Anish is planning. Not to take this way, which looks awkward, but rather this way, bishop takes, bishop e6, and rook e4. I think that's well calculated. Less than, well, around 2 minutes for both players right now. It appears to me that that was a good calculation. And he's got h3 basically in the bag to give his king some luft and to hit that knight. Okay, so first things that come to mind are definitely, yeah, moves like h3. Remember, if the bishop takes, there's bishop e6. Knight g3. Ooh, is this gonna force a capture here? I think you might have to take everything and go bishop back to d7. Remember, black's position is so bad because that rook can't get out. It's so long in the game until that rook actually joins. So I think Anish has a commanding advantage here. Also up a minute on the clock. Liking this position a lot. Jordan appears to be, well, he's got g5 played. Usually a good sign. Bishop to b3, putting the pressure on. Now, he does not jump in and take this. Knight takes g3 and queen e2. And with the move knight e5, it's basically confirming that I think what the opponent wants here is, so let's say queen takes d5. I'm thinking if knight takes here, queen takes. So yeah, he's going to trade the queens. Is it knight g4 he wants? No, his opponent has 2 seconds. Holy smokes, I'm just realizing this. Well, rook d7 and this is game over. I thought this was maybe going to be a struggle, but this is a cakewalk for Jordan. Yeah, he's... Sorry, I didn't even check the time there. I was focused on the position. He's up 5 minutes. I mean, this is over. Jordan with a very convincing win there. I mean, his opponent just got into Amon Hambleton level time trouble. Let's get back to Sean's game. Sean, the pressure is on here. Has been on, it looks like, the entire game. But after queen e5, what is the idea? It looks like this is the move. Hang on a sec. Isn't that just 1-2 punch? What am I missing here? Yeah, Sean's head is shaking like he just saw it. He must be trying to think of ways. Yeah, I assume he's going to try to complicate. I was going to say calculate and complicate things with e3, but it's just not that complicated. This happens. So tuning in at a time where I think we'll just witness the demise. He's going to keep playing this game, but I'm going to jump over to Jennifer's game where it looks like there's opposite bishops, which always presents drawing chances. White is up a pawn here, but opposite bishops, some chances. However, that is so strong, honestly. And with 30 seconds left, Jennifer holding this position would be incredible. Rishuk has won the game. Jordan has won the game. I think Anish is much, much better and totally winning in his position. But once again, Jennifer's game is the one that's probably going to finish last in the round. If rook e7, there is king g8, but everything's tied down here. Of course, we can't play that move right now, but MVL will probably get some sort of escape square over there. I think this king needs to be moving. Okay. That is now a threat. So yeah, this move, but here the rook is going to move, and then rook here, right? Or rook here first? I thought maybe this was the nasty move, but yeah. It was always going to happen. Bishop here and rook there. It's actually unstoppable because the bishop is totally pinned. So I think the most tempting move in this position is to take. But it's also crossing my mind that, like, hang on. Bishop c5, what do you even do to defend this, right? This move might be even nastier. Yeah. Even nastier. So I think the best result for this round is 2-2. Two games that we may... I mean, we're grinding out some good wins on the top two boards, but again, suffering on boards 3 and 4. It has been the case throughout the PCL. Not even just board 4, boards 3 and 4. And Anish totally winning here. It's going to get the job done. But just like that, every board has concluded, and it is 2-2. Update the scores here. So 3.5 to 4.5. We're still down just a single game. But these scores evening up. I always say the more balanced lineup, you know, the lineup with more GMs, I think if they're even or ahead after the first couple rounds, I always say I think it's a good thing. So this should be exactly what the Blitz want. 2-2 this round. White pieces won on every single board. And it just, you know, you're not going to win in the PCL if your board 4 and board 3 continue to struggle, right? So let me update these scores. I'm going to look at maybe some of the moments we missed here. The match is still extremely close, so I don't want to say that it's like really, really bad news. But if you think about how the matchups are going to be, we've been getting our points, you know, primarily from boards 1 and 2. And now boards 1 and 2, while they can still get those points, it's going to be a lot harder, right? They're going to have to beat MVL and Grishuk. And then boards 3 and 4, they haven't been scoring. And I would say basically both of them are up against, I mean, essentially equal pairings or underdogs. Sean is going to be an underdog against Lagno, and he's going to be a 50-50 against Boyer. Jennifer Yu is going to be an underdog against both of them. Right? So that's why I think if the match is even or tied, then it just gets tougher and tougher as the match goes on for us. But that being said, we still it all depends who shows up to play. The reason, by the way, that the Blitz are even a team that we're playing right now, you might be looking at the Blitz roster and you're like, MVL, Lagno, Grishuk, and then a board 4 who's a young IM. Like, what are these guys doing with 2 losses? Well, MVL and Grishuk have been scoring like not more than 3 points each per week. Sometimes 2, 2.5. They've been having some tough weeks. Now, once in a while, that's going to happen. But guess what? MVL and Grishuk can just show up and score 4 points one week. Or maybe both of them. Like, that'll just happen from time to time. It hasn't been happening in the PCL at all, which is why their team is only 2-2. Same record as us. So, it really comes down to your form on game day. Of course, that's the most important. But it has to be said, yeah, the boards 1 and 2 for the Blitz, they haven't been scoring, 4 points, 3.5 points every week, or else they'd be crushing. So we got tough games ahead, and I can't say anything other than, yes, we are the underdog going forward. Absolutely. So if you want my take, my commentator take on how we're gonna get things done, let's see. The next round is going to be Giri against MVL, and Giri should get the black pieces. It's going to be Jordan against Grishuk. Jordan also with the black pieces. So the black pieces in those two games, I think I would go with next round. Jennifer Yu is also against Mihail Boyer, and Sean against Lagno. So I say Sean and Jennifer, 1.5. And Jordan and Anish, 1 point. That's my outlook for the next round. I put my commentator hat on here. I say, guess what? Boards 3 and 4 have to wake up. If we get 0 points from boards 3 and 4 this round, it might just be done, right? If it's not, and we go another 2-2 round, that means our board 1 and 2 are just beating MVL and Grishuk. I mean, it could happen, but we need boards 3 and 4 to score. Also for their own confidence. I mean, these are good players. They're just up against also very good players. So I think boards 3 and 4 have to wake up. 1.5. Someone needs to get a win there. We got the white pieces on both of those boards. Thank you to Just Add Blue. Thanks, Lawrence. 39 months. What's up, buddy? Bitter Jester 69. Thanks for the 6 months with Prime. And Svarog 42. Thanks for the 13-month reset. All tied up here in the second round. So the Blitz retain their 1 point lead. And it looks like the games will get underway in about 4 or 5 minutes. There, I see here 2 to 3 minutes till the games. All right. How are you guys feeling about the performance thus far? I think back to Jennifer's missed draw. Like, I definitely think this match should be tied right now, 4 to 4. But even if it was tied, I would be saying the same thing. That, I'm not going to lie, we might be the underdogs on paper going forward. Absolutely. I think Sean is a very solid player, but these top players right now, Grishuk and MVL, kind of picked him apart. I don't think Sean has looked great in those games. Kind of getting good, solid openings, but then just getting outplayed. Whereas Jennifer, in her first game against Grishuk, I thought she looked fantastic. Like, of course, top players are going to take some risks against you as a board 4. But I thought she did a great job. Basically saying, okay, I know you're taking a risk, but I'm going to punish this to the best of my ability. And she was tactically sharp at the very end. Like, when things got into a skirmish, she could handle it. But then the very, very, very end of the game is a missed opportunity, which is the reason we're down in this match. So I'm looking at that as the biggest turning point right now. But Sean and Jennifer, they had tough games against the top 2 players. Now we really see what kind of form they're in, because now they're playing players that they can definitely beat. Like, of course they can beat MVL and Grishuk, but let's say they're clear underdogs. But here, Lacno and Boyer, like, you have to remember, Boyer also, I mean, he's been in time trouble, right? Insane time trouble, both games. Boyer, he's like addicted to it, which is good. Use that against him, right? I'd like to see Jennifer, you know, give a good game to Lacno and Sean against Boyer here. I think that's a huge matchup. Sean with the white pieces. Sean's a quick player. Boyer gets in time trouble. We need a win from Sean here. That's what I'm saying. Sean's a good player. But against these top guys, he's been made to look like a pushover, and that's not the case at all. So I am all eggs in on the basket of Sean getting a dub this round. And the funny thing is, Sean and his opponent are actually rated the exact same. 2456 on the dot. Here we go. First game underway. Anish against MVL. Anish with the black pieces. I think we all know the best, you know, definite best result for Anish is, you know, a draw, especially if we're treading in Ruy Lopez Berlin territory. So a draw would be a good result. It is tough to get wins against top players when they play as white and you play the Berlin, you know? That's just always going to be tough. Jordan against Grishuk, though, this will be a fun game. Very fun. Neither one of these players is like a Berlin player, you know what I mean? They're not just going to sit there and be like, all right, Berlin, let's pack things up, you know? So this is going to be a fun game to watch, I think. Jordan with the black pieces. Anything could happen on this board. And as I've been saying, Sean against Boyer, I think, is a big matchup right now. Probably the most important one of this round, in my opinion. Bold prediction from Holy Psychopep. Okay, I'm not sure if the time has even started going here. All right, Sean with the white pieces against Boyer. And the interesting thing is Sean probably paid attention. Didn't this game just happen? This game just happened, right? Or no? It was Boyer. Yeah, Boyer was just with the black pieces. So Jordan just played this. And Sean probably checked the game that they just played. I mean, obviously. Because Sean is probably thinking, hey, I play that line as well. This guy plays the French. Okay, you know, we'll see what's gonna happen. So I like that. I'm getting the impression, based on how I saw Sean during the break, I'm getting the impression that Sean looked at something here and is probably happy enough to play it. So okay, he takes knight b3, similar position I think to last game. I like it. I always like playing against an isolated pawn, but I wonder what Sean is going to do, how he's going to handle it. Black's no way castling that way. I think we'll see this. The interesting thing is usually white wants to play bishop e3. But white doesn't really have this available anymore. So you probably got to slot a knight into d4 first, then play c3. Jennifer Yu against Lacno. This looks theoretical in nature. I will be the first to admit I'm not up to snuff on the Grunfeld theory, but this is absolutely mainline theory here. Did he finally make a move? He did. Grishuk, I think, started the game. I'm not sure if we'll be able to see it. Yeah, it doesn't update. But Grishuk definitely started this game a little bit late. It looks like. And it's funny because Lagno and Grishuk, I mean, they're in the same place. So it's kind of funny, you know, you play a tournament from the same place. One of you is like deep in a game and the other one's walking around. Hey, honey, you want a drink? It's like, shouldn't you be playing right now, Sasha? Get to the board. Like I said, I knew this game was going to be exciting. We have basically a reversed Benko, plus we have an H-pawn surging up the board. This just looks like fun. What can I say? I'm excited to see where this game goes. Grishuk and Jordan are two extremely eccentric players. So this is a toss-up. And Giri and Anish, I mean, I do not know the ins and outs of this opening enough to say whether this is anything for white. But I'm just going to go with the default solid answer, which is it looks equal-ish. You know, it looks kind of equal. But as always, white has a slight edge. And I mean, white loses these positions pretty much never. Like, truly. So, Anish getting a draw here would be a good result for sure. Time is around even as well. And considering Anish started with less time, that's already a small victory. I was wondering whether he's like intending that. Anyway, this game, I'm not gonna lie, probably very equal, very drawish, but I don't mean to downplay it and say, like, oh, this is an easy draw. No, I just think these guys are at a level where the Berlin to them is like, to them it might be more of an easy draw, but me, I would like not be confident to be just making a draw here because the Berlin, it's one of those openings where you, yes, if you know everything, it feels like such an easy, boring draw, but you have to know all this stuff. I just think these guys are at the level where they do know it, and I can leave them to it. So it's not going to be the most interesting game to spectate. Hopefully Anish can keep the equality. I think this game will be really fun. Grishuk already in time pressure, you know, under 6 minutes. Let's just call a spade a spade. I'm going to stick with this one because I have not liked Sean's start at all. Ever since we saw this, and then he took and basically did not have bishop there available. He went bishop b5 to play bishop e3, but then he's running into this. And it's like, I'm not sold on this. You know, black's going to play a4, white's a little bit behind in development, knight e4 hits this, this knight is stuck to b2. This trade is annoying because it displaces one of the pieces. Sean's position is not what it should be right now, so I don't like it. I think black is not only a little bit better, but completely fine out of the opening. So I think Sean has a whole lot of a nothing burger. Absolutely. I think this has been a big success for Boyer. Anything can happen, but so far, dislike. Moneybird, thanks for the 35 months with Prime. Coming up to 3 years, and allow us to have a look at this Grunfeld position. H3, Queen E2. I mean, yeah, black always plays E5 in these lines. Interesting. Knight D5, the last move. So if takes, I mean, bishop, I guess F5 probably makes more sense. I'm looking at this, and I'm not really sure why. Like, if the queens get traded, I think white has a terrible position. Take these queens off the board, like, I don't know, for example, let's just say this. Like, this position doesn't look great to me. B6, this is all well defended. I don't know. So yeah, knight takes d5, e5. I think we'll see bishop here. And yeah, I'm not sure we'll see bishop d6. Probably this bishop wants to stay on this diagonal. But you get my point. If the queen's trade, it's like, what is white doing? This bishop's kind of blocked. This looks really annoying. Bishop e3, I imagine. Rook c1. Not a bad position for Jennifer, but maybe not that good either. So the bottom two boards, I'm just going to be honest, like, I do not like the position. I think Sean's game is going towards total equality, complete and total equality. He's not going to have an isolated pawn to play against anymore in his game. If we look at this, yeah, he went knight d4. I mean, black should be doing great here. So if we play a4, where's this knight going, right? Oh, he took first, okay. So now a4, and the point is, like, where does this knight go? If the knight moves, d4 hangs. So after a4, I mean, we kind of need to take, right? But black is just not worse here. This is just, I think, like 100% equal. Now, of course, anyone can outplay here. It could happen to either side, but I just think there's a whole lot of nothing happening in this game. Checking in with Geary's game. If I'm being honest, I think I like what white's done to the place, so to speak. F5, rook here, and now if bishop e4 takes, and you have to take that way, but then f5. And yeah, white has c4 come. I don't know. That's a really tough position to evaluate. But if bishop d3 here, bishop c2 here, bishop b1, maybe black can keep the bishop here and just not ever play bishop e4. So I'm thinking rook here and bishop here, rook here, bishop here. That's the plan, I believe. And there's just enough squares to always have one available. And if black gets to play like g6, king here, I think Anish could be very, very fine in this position. Let's jump to Grishuk's game against Jordan because, yeah, I knew this one was just going to be kind of weird and wacky. Knight g5, h4. Grishuk gives up the light square bishop. And yeah, I mean, what to make of this position? Grishuk's game is super easy to play. He's got, I mean, comfortable pieces, targets. Knight e5 is a big threat here. A-pawn is super weak, but Jordan has this bishop that he's hoping will change the course of the game. The annoying thing for black is you can't really play e5, e4. I mean, f7 is hanging, and this bishop, it just feels like it's doing absolutely zero. Little bit of time advantage for Jordan, but if I'm honest, I like his position, and if we go and check out board one, I can tell you guys, hey, this is a draw. Guess what? Yeah. So Anish makes his draw. I think I could have told you that result was coming 4,000 miles away, especially once we saw the opening. I think that result, I mean, you can't do much better with the black pieces against MVL in the Berlin. So guess what? Draw. Good job, Anish. Jordan still has chances here, but it really is coming down to these bottom boards, as always. Like, you can always get victories on top boards, but the reason the bottom boards are so important in the PCL is if you have a 2750 against a 2750, there's a much higher chance that game is a draw than a 2300 against a 2300. Like, they just know so much about chess, they know so much theory, and they can keep up with one another. Whereas 2300s, it's like they're each going to have kind of weaknesses in their game as to why they're not higher rated, and maybe they each have the kind of the exact same weaknesses, and maybe they do make a draw, but for the most part, each 2300 is a little different than the other. Some of them might be worse in the opening, and you might see an opening advantage for one side, but then you might see some tactical blunders, miscalculations, not as good as at evaluating. And then you might see, you know, some endgame blunders when it was totally winning. So you just won't see that many swings in 2700 chess. But speaking of swings, this is a 2700 game here. Jordan is a very, very capable player. But he's made a decision which I understand, but it also feels bad. He's traded the queens, and I think Rishuk will take him up on this. I just don't think Jordan can hope to be much better after this exchange. And I've been talking about this for a while. Look, Sean's up on time. Sean's a tricky player, but Black's position is literally peaking right now. This pawn structure is so good against this knight. King g7, knight's guarding the pawn. This pawn has kicked the knight out. No isolated pawn anymore. If the knight moves, rook e2. Everything in Black's position is amazing. So I just find this game to be a little uninspiring from Sean. No semblance of an opening advantage, and unfortunately, he doesn't seem to have gotten much out of it. But it's a long game. He's up on time right now. I can say that's definitely the bright spot. Let's head over here. This looks very equal. I mean, yes, there's a loose pawn here. But at the same time, these pawns are situated well for the type of bishops that we have. Rook d7. It's a little bit of a weird move. I wonder, like, is rook d8 just going to get played? It's just because white can't back up that rook with another rook. So that's why it seems weird to jump in there. I'm going to stick with the most exciting game of the round, in my opinion, which is this one. It's just all over the place. I think Rishuk is seriously doing well here. Bishop c5 was played. I like his decision to keep the queen, but it's really hard to imagine saving this. Because it's difficult to drum up threats here as Black. You're pinned all over the place, and like takes here is just going to trade everything. It might be the best move, but it is going to trade everything. If you take here, I mean, I guess you can't take back right away. But maybe you can because this rook is hanging. So as soon as the rook comes out, you drop that rook on a8. Wow. Rook b8. Yeah, no matter what, I think this is a decent decision. If the queen trades, you take back here, and there are some threats to deal with. I give Jordan a lot of credit for muddying the waters, but I still think, even in that final position there, white still might be better. Because rook here and rook to the 7th rank is so nasty. So I give him a lot of credit for muddying the waters, especially with time ticking down on Grishuk's clock. But I don't buy this. I really don't. Bishop e3. Knight g5 is a threat. I think we have to take the knight, sadly. And it's going to be... Yeah, I think this is a win for white. e4, rook takes... Sorry, pawn takes. And then rook takes down here. So e4 doesn't do anything. This pawn is dead. Rook b7, like, pre-move. Rook f7, rook g7. You know, you can't defend any of these pawns. So I'm wondering how Jordan even makes a threat. Like, queen takes here. Rook takes. Queen takes here. right? But then at some point, rook b7 is just going to start winning things. My guess is after rook here that he wants to play that. That's my feeling. But I just realized after this, rook b7. This is just so easy to play. Yeah, rook b7? What happens there? I guess queen check and take. Yeah, that's rook b7, queen check and take, and then run. It's his best try. Okay, that's surprising. I thought rook b7 there. Looking at Sean's game, I think Mahel is... I'm not gonna lie, I think Mahel is outplaying Sean, but my other feeling about this position is that I do not think that this is the type of position that you can just outplay someone to like checkmate. So at some point, with less than a minute on the clock, Mahel's time is going to get low enough that he can make a mistake to lose this game. That can definitely happen. Like, I think somebody who plays quickly in a situation like this does get rewarded. So I've seen nothing on the board from Sean that's been too inspiring this game, but guess what? If that's the reality, play on the clock. He's got an extra minute. Let's see if he can use it. Meanwhile, this game up a piece. What the heck happened here? Oh my goodness, there's a sacrifice. Wow, bishop takes g3. I didn't even consider this. Rook d2. Oh my goodness, this is scary. Because guess what? Jennifer's up a piece, but you're in severe time pressure here. But we'd rather be here, right? Than playing just an equal position. We would rather be here. 100%. I'll take this any day of the week. b3, bishop b2, in eventuality is going to be needed. The queen f3 is nice because you have a mate threat down there on f7. Or I guess not mate, but certainly a big threat. So, if check, we can go here and we do have f7. This game is madness, but it's good madness to have, I think. You definitely want chaos at this point. Sean's position. Look, I'm not in love with Sean's position here. It's kind of brutal, but he's got something to make his opponent stress. So Sean's position is also getting a little bit frisky. Meanwhile, Grishuk's position, I don't know what's happening here. I gotta be honest with you guys. Like, there are mate threats for black. I couldn't tell you. He might go like queen b7 or queen a8 or something. Every game is up in the air. I don't know. I think I prefer the chaos, guys. It doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but I'll take the chaos. Rook b1, tough move to play. c4 was played. Queen f3 and rook b1. The problem is these pieces can't move now, but guess what? They couldn't really move here either, so I get it to an extent. She wants to make a move. Time is ticking. I am still going to be very impressed if Jennifer can pull this out because, like, under 10 seconds, only +2 increment, and you've got a 25-50 Grandmaster trying to actively prevent you from developing. I mean, this is not easy at all. I'm trying to even think if it was my turn here as white, what I would do. And I actually am not sure I know the answer to that question. Also, queen e4 is a fork right now. I also do not love to see dark square pawns that much. Yeah, it was just pawn takes in here. And now, I mean, black's coming with the rook down here. Has this move not been considered at all? It doesn't look like it. That's covered. There is going to be a queen coming in, and man, I'm scared to lose this rook. That's what I'm realizing. Yep. The rook is lost. I did not have a good feeling about this. Basically, as soon as white would develop the bishop, and by the way, bishop g5, I was trying to calculate that line there. It could just be taken. The reason it worked, even though the rook was defended, was f7 was hanging. So I can maybe show that line after. Definitely looks like a tough position. Sean's position, I think, is just trending towards draw, but he's definitely worse. I think he's much worse here. This is, I want to say it's losing. After rook here, I think the position is lost. Because now Sean's king can't move. It's stuck. His opponent moved with what looked to be literally a second. Or he moved with like 0 on the clock. It's very hard to imagine a way out of this. Now I don't think there's flagging chances, and I think this is lost. Draws from the top 2 boards, which are objectively not bad results. Jordan getting a draw from that position. I mean, it's MVL and Grishuk at the end of the day. I think he was worse. So to get a draw there looks like a great result. And this one also, I mean, he's going to try, but this one is definitely a loss. And Jennifer also lost her game. So again, boards 3 and 4, just not able to make anything happen. And it looks like it's going to be a 3-1 round. Because I just can't see... I can't see him saving this, unfortunately. And so where does that put us? 7.5 to 4.5. I mean, at that point, basically there's 1 point needed. There's 1 point needed in the final round. It does not look difficult to get when you've got MVL and Grishuk there. But the only thing I'm thinking right now is that the colors, for whatever comeback is going to be needed from the gods themselves, the colors are probably good. Because Jordan and Anish have white. And I think you'd rather have the white pieces against the top 2 players. This is dead. What were the things missed? Well, Grishuk's game, like I said, I think this was good from Jordan. I think Jordan played an interesting game, but I think he was considerably worse here. So I give Jordan a lot of credit for saving this draw. Yeah. Maybe white's a bit better, but you'd have to take some risks as well. Anish looked like dead draw. Jennifer's position. Okay, this bishop sack was very interesting. And actually, computer says, hey, we don't mind this at all. Rook e8, rook d2, and then c5. Allowing white a chance to play maybe rook f2. But queen f5 was just not the move. Queen d3, and all of a sudden, Jennifer turned things around. I think the moment was here. I looked at this for a second. Of course, I have the eval bar helping me, but guess what? Rook d8, if you allow rook d1 to happen, it is over. It's really over, right? You're pinned, you're getting checked and mated, like you're done. So you can't allow this move. So even a move like rook f1 would come to mind just to try to take the sting out of this. But yeah, bishop g5 does work. It's a tactic, but I think when you're forced to be resourceful, you might find stuff like this. Completely winning, actually. So after bishop here, this move would have to happen, and then this. And, I mean, this is easy, actually. I'm not going to lie. Bishop comes to c3. Bishop, I mean, it doesn't matter. This is a clean piece, and there's 0 threats. Super safe. So, yeah, bishop g5 missed, and the game was very easily lost after that. It was completely over. So, not much to do there. Not much to do. Yeah, I updated in the title, but let me update the score command as well. Seven and a half to 4.5. So big chance missed there by Jennifer. In Sean's game, I'm not going to lie. I think Mahel played a great game. But I think he played a great game because Sean played a bad game. Like, my expectations with the white pieces for a guy like Sean are definitely higher than this. Especially because this opening seemed to have just been played by Jordan against Mahel. Was it Jordan? It was Jordan, right? Yeah. And he won on time, but was kind of crushing. Like, this is just disaster as white. You're just getting absolutely nothing from the opening. Black has no isolated pawn. He's got this advanced. So, a tremendous game from Boyer, but yeah, this hasn't been... this wasn't a great one. Yeah, no chances there. So I wasn't happy with most of the game from Sean. I just didn't think he had any hope for an advantage with white. So a bit of a waste of a game, and he ends up losing it as well, not even drawing. And then Jennifer, probably an equalish game, but opponent went for a sack. Things got messy, and she did have a chance to win. So points left on the table in our bottom 2 boards. And I don't know what to say. I think Jordan with the black pieces against Grishuk, it's like, you always got to say a draw is a good result there, especially considering how the game went. It did not look good for him. And Geary with the black pieces against MVL, like, you know, you're not going to do much better than a draw when you're facing MVL in the Berlin. So what needs to happen in the final round? We all need to inhale a ton of copium. A ton. What needs to happen, even if it sounds unrealistic, where am I going to get, and let's not even talk about 4 points, which would win the match. Let's talk about 3.5. If we get 3 points, we actually lose the match. 3-1 round for us loses. So we need 3.5 points. Where are we going to get them from? Well, we've got Anish against Grishuk. Anish with the white pieces. We've got Jordan with the white pieces against MVL. Sean with the black pieces against Lacno. And Jennifer Yu with the black pieces against Boyer. So let's keep it real. Boards 3 and 4 just can't score right now. So sorry, but Anish and Jordan, you got to win your games against 2 of the world's strongest players. Good luck. And then Sean and Jennifer, I think it's clear. 1.5 points is necessary there. I don't know where it's going to come from, but one of you needs to win. That's clear. Right? We need 1.5 points from our bottom 2 boards, 2 points from our top boards. That's how we get 3.5. And if we get 3.5, what happens is you replay the final round with opposite colors. So the pairings of round 4 get replayed. The score would be 8-8 if we go 3.5 to half. And then at 8-8, we replay it. But I don't even want to talk about that. I mean, I'm like doing hard drugs if I'm down 7.5 to 4.5 and talking about, well, actually, the playoff tiebreaks are rather interesting, guys. So gather around. So the playoff tiebreaks are super interesting. So the final round, so you have the results and you have the scores. And the players, but board 1 against board 1, is they replay the matchup. And the Blitz have actually played a lot of tiebreakers so far, and they've lost some of them, so we might have a chance in the tiebreaker. 3.5 half round is needed. So you replay and you flip the colors, and it's like, shut the fuck up. It's 7.5 to 4.5. Like, fire this commentator. So, yeah, I'm definitely not gonna even say the word tie breaks again anymore. It's embarrassing. Let's talk about that if we score 3.5 points. But our boards 3 and 4 can't score. I think that's clear. So sorry, but if we need 3.5 points, we're gonna need wins on boards 1 and 2. Thanks for the 53 months, Irish Chesticles. Welcome back, buddy. Agreed, not over yet. Anything can happen, so I definitely don't rule out a comeback, but we're in about as tough of a spot as you could possibly be in, truly. But in case you guys are curious, I'm not even sure if there have been many tie breaks for any other team in the Pro Chess League. The Blitz have had 3 tie breaks out of 4 weeks so far. So something about that team, it just happens. Hello, Pranav. We're trying here, buddy, but looks bleak. Not gonna lie. It looks bleak. Here we go. The one thing about a 7.5 score is that everybody on the team knows a few things. It's like a prisoner dilemma, right? Because basically the players don't get to know, they're not allowed to spectate other games. So really when you're playing as a player on the team, you don't actually know what results are being turned in. So let's say in the final round, if it was like going into the final round, if it was 6-6, then you wouldn't necessarily know if you making a draw in your game is like a good result for the team. So you don't really have that information. But when it's 7.5 for the enemy, you do know a few things. If you lose, the match is over. And if you draw, every other person has to win. So you're obviously trying your best not to get into a position where you're lost. And certainly, if you can avoid equal positions, you want to as well. Everybody needs to play for a win. However, it is definitely worth it to go for a win and risk a loss rather than take the equal path. So everyone has that information. And what can I say? That is the good thing about being down 7.5 to 4.5. Everyone knows you have to win. Wow, that's great. Team's all on the same page. We're synced up here. Perfect. The other team certainly doesn't have that advantage. They might be saying, oh, shucks. Don't know what result I need here. Oh. Jordan against MVL, and MVL, I believe, has chosen the Petrov. All right, well, GG. Not the Petrov. No, not this opening. You gotta be kidding me right now. Ugh. You gotta be kidding me right now. MapRail, thank you for the sub bomb. 33 subs. Would you look at that? That looks rather intentional. Thanks so much, MapRail. We hit a little milestone there. 69. 69. I mean, appreciate all the support, MapRail, throughout the entire PCL and, of course, the stream in general. Sean, he's closed things up, and there's going to be play on both sides. Hey, I'll take it. In a must-win game, I'll take it. And Jennifer with the black pieces as well. We'll see what's going to happen. Appreciate the love, MapRail, as always. Built similar. Appreciate the 14 months from you, bud. Everybody has a task at hand. Geary's already down a pawn in his game, sacrificing it. Maybe Jordan has a Petrov refutation he's been saving. I would love to hear about it. Truly. Takes and queen b3. All right, let's hope this refutes the Petrov, guys. I'm ready for it. Thanks for the 39 months, Grizzhog. This is a chance for the Chessbrahs to literally pull a Montreal miracle. If you guys don't know about the Montreal miracle, it's when the Chessbrahs managed to score 5 points in a Pro Chess League round where only 4 points were possible. The Montreal miracle. Never forget. So what do they do after this? What's the big idea? Takes. Knight d7, queen d5. How do I get the feeling it's that? Geary against Grishuk. I mean, Geary's sending it here. Grishuk, couple moves away from being castled. Geary's down a full pawn, but that is absolutely part and parcel with the opening. How does that work? I feel like a wise old grandpa, you know? Sit the kid down on the knee. You know, young one. That's another story for another time. I'll tell you about the Montreal miracle if we pull off the Toronto miracle. We need a better name for that. We need a better name for that. I was going to call it the Toronto Maple Leafs, because if we won, we would qualify to the playoffs, but to Toronto's credit, we do make the playoffs. We just don't stay there very long. I'll have to think of a better name. The Toronto Turnaround. Yeah, this looks like a whole heap and heck of theory. What's happening here? 95, 97. This is what I was looking at. Takes, knight takes. Now, queen d6. I mean, this exists. If you take here, I mean, there's bishop c5 here. And it just looks rough. Like, it just looks like you don't have any semblance of an advantage. Queen g3 back. This bishop wants to get out, but like, where? You know, that knight's so strong. But still, look, I will take the extra pawn. If you're asking, I'll take the extra pawn. Bishop h6. I was looking at this move. Bishop comes back. And, you know, white's fighting there. Absolutely. All right, Jordan. We will take it from Jordan. Trade bishop here. Jordan has an extra pawn, guys. He has an extra pawn. That's the best we can ask for, right? h4 maybe? All right. Meanwhile, this position, we have a, I guess, a very double-edged position. And the potential for Grishuk time trouble. We'll take it. You know, there's fighting chances on the top two boards. Let's venture in to the most important boards as we know. We are huge underdogs in this match based on the current score. I like Sean's position. I like the fact that he just closed things up. Look, if white makes progress here, great. At least we have counterplay here always. And it looks like he's even trying to break through on the king side as well. Like, takes bishop c5. I mean, is f4 coming? But that's might be something that you need to go for. Up a couple minutes here. And checking in with Jennifer's position. It looks imbalanced, which I like, you know. Bishop for knight, e5 happened. Maybe queen here. Gonna stop that move. Move looks normal. Then we might do something like this. White's position, I do like. If you can get something like that, or basically if you can force c5, because then white gets the b5 square, it's no good. But I think that you want to go here, and maybe you even have this as an answer to that move, possibly. Long term, I think if we can get a knight there, establish a knight on that square, that would be good for Jennifer. But yeah, white's building up something solid here. Tough position for Jennifer. Like, I think that Boyer is better, but not like, I like his position. That's all. I just like the bishops, easy play, but nothing crazy. And like I said, knight to d5 is a big plan. Knight g5 even might get frisky with some sacrifices. I think it's a pretty decent final round so far, guys. I have to say. I like this. Takes. f4 and maybe d4 immediately is like kind of just a quick move, but long castle and then bishop defending from f7. I don't mind this at all. This is an idea here, d4. I'm not saying that black's doing super well here, but it's very double-edged. What do you guys think? I just think that Jordan has an extra pawn. I'm not saying he's winning, still takes a ton of technique, but he has an extra pawn, right? So he has a good shot. Extra pawn for Jordan. Giri is just playing a messy position. Anything can happen. You know, we'll take it. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
What do you think of the games in the last round so far?
For the final round.
For the final hurrah?
Channel some juice for the team.
I think the only way from here is up.
Only way from here is up?
With 4.5. Let's there you go. The only other person I've made the camera bigger for is Magnus, so there we go.
Not even Asios.
No, it's true. All right. I have been singing a few praises here for the fact that we're not lost on any board.
No, like I see a couple of games we can win.
Yeah. Like this game is just going to be wild, right? It's going to be all over the place. Grishuk in time trouble.
So right now, is it not Jordan has good winning chances?
Up a pawn, clear pawn.
And yeah, up a pawn and clear pawn.
Mm-hmm.
And Anish has Grishuk like in serious pressure.
Yeah. A minute.
Sean actually has a playable position that
for sure
has lots of chances.
I like Sean's position.
So that's 3 boards that I actually feel good about right now. And I haven't felt good during most of these games, especially
Agree.
Sean's positions.
Agree.
That's 3. That's 3. I like.
And then Jennifer's looks equal, and we can even give up a draw somewhere. So, could we just pause, adjourn all the results, and take them at the computer eval? This looks like. I mean, if you just imagine from Grishuk's perspective, I mean, like, I would assume I'm dead lost here.
Which stream Ibiza? Yeah, I mean Jordan. It's underrated how he held against Grishuk is like
that's what I was saying.
Like just fighting every move. I mean, I didn't expect him to hold that earlier on.
No, Jordan has had 2 good PCL weeks. But if he can cap it off with a win here, I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Castles looks like the move.
Mm-hmm. And then just you cash in knight c7, knight d5.
Mm-hmm. Start munching.
2 bishops, and you're gonna win a pawn most likely.
Yeah, he's got a castle.
Mm-hmm. To win some material.
And that's unpleasant to face with the time. Okay, well...
I was always curious about these conversions. Do you take on e4 and play queen c3 sometimes?
That's my feeling. I would...
Or maybe queen b2 first, but like some sort of... You can actually take and allow the potential long battery on b7.
Yep. Especially with the king here, it's so helpful. It's
hey, Skinny Tom, how you doing?
Some sort of check there. Okay, well, I'm going to look at another game. I mean, up 4 minutes, up the exchange. Giri's doing well. I just want to check here, but I don't think anything's going to be happening maybe till a bit later. Like, he's going to grind a bit.
But this is good. This position for Jordan, I mean, there's even potential, like, in a must-win situation, there's going to be situations where you sack the exchange and you get, like, pass pawns in the center with the bishop, but it just depends.
Yep. But it's stable. Knight, I mean, I guess we have some rooks. Rook a3, for example. Or maybe b3, so we kind of... Yeah, I feel like I would go a3. But yeah, 3 minutes each. This is obviously not a guaranteed result, but that one, and let's flip this. What the hell is happening here? b4 and queen takes. I already feel a bit strange about this. Gives up the pawn on purpose.
What's white threatening here? Like, even if you went d4 or something?
I'm not really sure white's threatening anything. Like, I would love to trade the queens and play knight b4.
Yeah.
That looks winning. So rook e8 is a fine looking move.
Rook e8 looks weird to me because you're pinning yourself. I guess you want to take on f5, but because of the response specifically.
Yeah, I was thinking of like king moves, like king a7, but if this is the move anyway, knight d4, then I'm a little bit weird on this diagonal. Maybe it's something super direct like this, but I have to admit, this doesn't feel natural either. Take that square away. So that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, now it's busted.
Queen f2, dead.
Everything's hanging.
Rook's hanging, knight's hanging. There's, yeah, you almost have to like bishop e4, but that doesn't really. Like bishop e4 takes. You're getting like killed with things coming in. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't even take like stuff hanging because of queen b6.
Because we can't even give up a loss. Like, that's the thing. Even a draw lets everyone else have a chance to fight. Takes queen b7. Yeah, queen b7. Here he won. That was a. I'm even curious how he converted it. He didn't touch the knight. Okay, that's a professional conversion. Extremely professional conversion. Jordan's fighting, but I think the
it's 3.5 out of 4 for Anish.
That is should be 3.5 out of 4. Yep,
it's a good score.
Yep. Yep, because he needs to save this position against Lacno, which is a big ask. Big ask. I'm not sure what's happening on Jennifer's board, but okay, it definitely looked like it wasn't even close to lost. So rook f8.
Queen takes d4.
That's the problem. Fortunately, this is actually like knight takes b5 is kind of a faster way to lose. Because of queen b6.
Okay. Appreciate the effort with queen b7. So probably rook f7. Then queen d5.
Rook f7 looks like
not counting Sean out yet. I like the resourcefulness.
Let's say king h3. Because the problem is we can't take the bishop anymore, so we're all in on this working.
So king h3, it's got to be like knight f3.
Knight f3, exactly. Yeah, some hope.
But the king is permanently open, so this is really hard to get anything going.
Like knight b3 sets up rook d3. I suppose I might try knight b3 here. Because this is out of the question, and like e3 doesn't do anything.
So knight b3, rook b1, rook d3, king h4, and the problem is this rook f6
Yeah, queen e7 doesn't even...
Although maybe there's queen g7.
Yeah, queen g7 first.
But then b3's hanging.
It's with check and like...
And b6 is hanging. And a b6, that's... The king is in the open. There's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So knight takes b3 is an actual threat here, which is nice. It's nice to have real threats. I still think he's fighting a little bit. Like, I don't think I could do better, put it that way, with this position. Knight b3, queen takes c2 now is even possible.
Mm-hmm. Wait a second. Wait a second. What's going on here, Amon?
Rook d2 and c1 is always a threat.
Because we need to cover b6 always. No, but there's some funny moves being played here. Because now the bishop's hanging, the rook is hanging, rook d2 is being threatened.
Oh, I just realized people dropped out of our call. Let me get Sean's webcam. I want to get the kid on here.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
What the hell is happening, buddy?
There might be a move here, but we have to find it. I think that's a good find by Sean. Knight h4, threatening rook d2 and c1 queens. Rook d2 check, and then you get to queen. That might be a huge find by Sean. The king has to go backwards or the rook drops back. Now you can queen. You can queen. You can just queen. Covered. It's covered. All of a sudden...
But this is still an insane position. It's going to be like 2 queens against this.
Oh no, there's got to be something here. Maybe queen d5?
Mm-hmm.
Or something of that sort? Queen d5?
Or maybe like this?
Queen b1. Queen b1 looks good. Queen d1 also. I mean she's covered. In time trouble.
She's in time. The king, by the way, is going to do some sprinting.
What's Sean doing here? This is impressive. That's a good move.
But I'm still like, is it this? Because you have to play this. I think I like that move. Hang on, I didn't even see this. 2 seconds, by the way. She literally made that move with 0 time on the clock. So everybody knows that's a repetition now. Or at least they're all willing to do it.
I mean, Sean, yeah, he's...
Maybe this one?
He's done a really good job getting back into the game.
Oh no, is it draw? It was rook d3. No, it's mate.
It's mate.
Mate in 1. Oh my god, he won! What the hell just happened? He won!
Oh, knight h4 was a huge find by Sean.
Hang on, what's happening in Jennifer's game? This is getting frisky.
Knight h4 is a big find.
What the hell's going on here?
She's losing.
Oh, everything can be traded.
Yep.
Oh, everything can be traded. Oh my goodness, that's depressing. I don't know what's going on in Jordan's game, by the way. It actually doesn't look good for him. But Sean just won like a ridiculous position. Yeah, Jordan drew. But this is a killer. So this had to be a win. Jordan ended up drawing. It looked like he got tricked, by the way.
Yeah, Jordan.
He got flipped.
Somehow
he lost control.
He lost control. He was doing a really good job.
Yeah, it just got completely flipped. Yeah, well, for him to draw this is also funny. Probably a good result. Because MVL doesn't know the result of all the positions.
Yeah.
When he does that, he's just assuming. But this game never looked great. Didn't look completely lost, but...
It's just 2 bishops.
But I think you have to have that awareness in positions like this, after bishop c3, that like... You know, like positions where everything gets traded are just hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not leaving yourself any chances. Yeah, brutal. That's all the game's done. I think everyone is at this call. Get these cams off. It's basically just a 4-screen of Anish. Oof, brutal. The Toronto miracle almost happened. Truly. But it feels a little bit sad to say, but I really think based on the teams I saw in the Pro Chess League that like ours just wasn't matching up. Like our elimination is very like not deserved, but a little bit expected for me, based on the results. If we can't have boards like 3 and 4 scoring regularly, where other teams do, like our boards 1 and 2 played amazing.
Almost every week. Did Jordan get you at 2.5? Or 3?
Yeah, I want to say 2.5.
He won. Oh no, he 2.5 because he drew Katarina, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, one of the issues now I can say it is like one of the max like Anish and Magnus I could never field, but that was the goal. You can have Anish,
it's the best
Magnus, Razvan,
yeah,
and Miley.
Yeah.
So
that's a 3GM.
That's a 3GM lineup, and Miley's had some fighting games. And scheduling wise, that was never possible.
Mm-hmm.
And if that was never possible, I wouldn't have set the lineup.
Well, I wouldn't have team together
I would have put a different team together, and that lineup would still have issues on board 4.
Mm-hmm.
But Miley has scored a point and was close to another before.
But with 3GMs, you're also, we're hanging our board 4 is out to dry, but our board 3 is also not even always a GM. But in that lineup, okay, you have 3GMs.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to this team actually.
Yeah, it's closer to this team because the Blitz were a bad lineup for us to face with the way they're structured.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Match is over, guys. I don't know what the final score was. We won 2.5 to 1.5 final rounds, so. Nine to 7. But ultimately, we did get a taste of what a comeback might look like. I give Sean a lot of credit in that final round, but I didn't like Sean's games today.
No, you didn't have it.
Didn't have a good day. Didn't have a good day. But yeah, we couldn't field like our equivalent to this lineup, which is Grishuk, MVL, and a 3rd GM. So ours would have been Magnus, Giri, and Razvan, which is definitely a nice lineup. So Razvan also had like a really good start to the PCL. GG's, everybody. That's an elimination. Yeah, the team won't be playing any more PCL matches this year. Be knocked out by the Blitz. Had some tough weeks. Hello, Pranav. Dr. Lord. Map Rail was here. Supporting the team through thick and thin, as always. Yeah, that's a different story, quantity sufficient. Can't have people going back on the flare now, not the logo.
Yeah, blitz skills are pretty important because I like Jennifer played pretty well in a lot of games, but she's not good in time scrambles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess the point is like she's not bad in time scrambles, but you're playing in 2700s. The margin of error is very thin. They're gonna exploit
trick you
when you're down to a few seconds, or you're much more capable. The blunder meter's coming. You're gonna blunder at some point before they are, unless you're a really seasoned like blitz player.
Mm-hmm.
You can be really competitive for the entire game, and then down to time trouble. It's like that happened a few times because there's still like an expected score. Like in this match, they have 2400 and 2500 on boards 3 and 4. You are expected to score maybe at least half a point
For
if
sure.
you play those two, and just that, and like there's a few other matches like that.
Mm-hmm.
So even if we were underdogs, we also performed below expected. Even considering, even as underdogs, we underperformed. As somebody wrote, we scored 1 out of 18 or something in the final 2 matches on boards 3 and 4. 1 out of 16 probably is what they meant to say. Is that possible?
Unless they were counting the 2 games from like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of that 7-0 run, like
yeah. Oh,
something like that.
It could have been.
But yeah.
The 2350s actually are supposed to score, and I'm supposed to score as a board 3, and almost everybody underperformed on the lower boards, even as underdogs.
Yeah. Like I'll say, I have a lot of sympathy for, boards 3 and 4, especially board 4, that go up against probably higher rated opponents for every single game in the PCL.
Yeah.
But I also, I think a lot of people are quick to be like, oh, like board 4 is the underdog in every match. It's okay to score 0 or something. And, I think you also have to see it from the other side that I have a lot of sympathy and they're very tough matches, but Jennifer's a strong player and putting up 0 is, that's not gonna do it. You're expected to score better. So, not just her, but there were other people.
Every board 3
missed
and
chances.
4. Every board 3 and 4, myself, every board 3 and 4, including myself, underperformed. If you look at previous, people just weren't here for previous Pro Chess Leagues. Dr. O beat a GM as a 2200.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 400-point rating difference. He won. Eric, Mannered Monkey Kurtz scored a draw. Like, people are not scoring 0 in like. It's speed chess, and like, yeah, if you're scoring 0, you're having a tough day. But it's not every week you're supposed to score 0. Like, the pressure's on the higher rated player, and I mean, even today, Grushuk blundered a completely good position against Jennifer, and almost lost that. Like, it happens to all the top players. The nerves of having to win every game. We had one of our worst PCL matches ever. We lost against. We did really poorly against Talia Cervantes. From St. Louis.
A while ago,
she scored well against our team as a 2200. Like, so it's like. People can overanalyze as well.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to just
because the Blitz,
who's playing well.
The Blitz, out of all the teams in the league, might have the highest, if not the second highest, true rating.
Well, I was gonna say, I think they're the best team. They're the worst performance.
They're the best team in the league based off of, you just go by ratings, which is how some people are looking. Oh, you're under. Well, the Blitz have 2 people above the cap.
Yeah.
And then the third woman. Also way above the cap, whereas St. Louis doesn't have that because Alice Lee isn't above the cap.
No,
and
she's
other teams do not have this much rating above the cap. So the Blitz are high rated. If they're to perform on paper, they're the hardest team in the league by ratings.
Yep.
So
the 2 teams probably the Levitov Wizards and the Blitz are like
so it's like easy to analyze afterwards, but like couldn't field some lineups. Players underperformed, and the league was like super strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very sweaty. Very sweaty.
But like,
But I think it's easy to be a hindsight warrior no matter what. Like if people had just scored a point here and there, or if the matches had gone a different way, I don't think anyone would be saying anything, us included. So yeah. Thanks, Matt Braille. 100 subs. Matt Braille has been a huge supporter.
Yeah, Matt Braille's been supporting the team. Thank you,
Pro Chess League. Thank you very, very much, Matt Braille. Not just for this 100 subs either. It's disappointing, though. It is. I want to commentate more matches. Want to see us go further, but it's definitely true that if we aren't able to field our best roster consistently, and if we're not getting points on boards 3 and 4 consistently, like we're not going to go far in the PCL. Mm-hmm. So. I guess I can update the score command as well. The Yogi's match was really tough. Was that our third match? Was that for like 3-0? Or was that our second one? I think it was our second one. But that one was really disturbing. To lose that many games in a row. So yeah, I'm torn. I have sympathy for board 4, knowing it's uphill battle, but I think people who have bad performances on certain weeks will be the first person to say that it was a bad performance.
Yeah.
Like she's not happy with 0 points. Like, you know, when I played in PCL, I'm not going to be glorifying, oh, you know, I was a low rated player. So I don't know. I have some sympathy, but it goes both ways. Thank you, Champ.
Thanks, Champ.
Champ 1977. Sorry we couldn't go further in the competition there, Champ. 20 gifted subs from Champ. 100 from Maprio. Plus some earlier as well. And overall support from those two. Thanks so much, guys. There is still a minute delay, yes. I can't get rid of that until stream ends, unfortunately. Other than the lineup, what did you think of the lack of our best lineup? What did you think of the team? Because I thought our whenever we slotted in like a new, like, you know, Sarge didn't play many matches, but he killed it when he showed up. Jordan, Geary, like so many players had like good performances that weren't put to use.
Yeah, it's just annoying because like 5 weeks is just not a big sample size, and
yeah, PCL used to be like
you can't
12 rounds.
You can't distribute the players very well. Like you can make a good argument that 2,600 players are kind of useless. Like Sarge did well, Jordan did well, but if you can field at 2,750, why would you ever need them? Because their rating almost counts the exact same. Like,
yeah,
like how many of the teams that are going to go really far are doing it off of the back of like 2650s? It's maybe the teams that have like the Hikarus or like top end talent where you get the rating bonus, and those players have a good score usually against strong GMs.
Yeah.
So it's like those guys did really well, and that performed above expected. So they performed above expected, so they were not an issue at all. But the issue was I couldn't put them in lineups. There were so many lineups that were 2 or 3 rating points off. Like if people put it in the simulator and check out our lineups and like how close we're, like maybe half a rating point off of, because in general I think a board 3 should be pretty strong in this league.
Yeah.
But Aryan is too high rated. I'm too high rated for most of the lineups. And Razvan plays really well sometimes, but he's streaky, which is why he's not rated that high, but he can play that well.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But people who keep saying should have played this, should have played that, like again, like players are not available. Like
yeah, that's
Jay
what
Lou says should have played Sarich, like he wasn't available. He was playing the European Championships. Like I just don't think anyone knows what happens behind the scenes.
There's average ratings. There's like, let's say the last determining factor is maybe like how a player is performing.
Yeah, well, with the good with the good players, like they have their track record. Like the tricky thing is on the bottom boards. That's where most of the skill is in the lineups, because you don't know how they're going to perform. They're more volatile. They're usually younger, things like that. And then there's different lineups there. But in terms of the strong players, they're pretty well established and they've played on our team for a long time. Yeah, and even with that said, again, we still had the we were higher rated. Counting, like I think people fail to realize, Magnus gives like 150 rating points.
Yeah. And
we lose potential on the women's board that not every team took advantage of, but some teams did. But even with that said, we were still higher rated than most teams we faced, and higher rated than the average team in the league by a lot. So like still underperformed. Because Magnus having extra rating does count. Like he's much more likely to score 3.5 or 4 to 4 on a board 1 than someone else. But yeah.
You see Pranav.
Yeah.
Yeah, PCL is definitely a tough tournament. I mean, I think it's the toughest it's ever
But it's
been.
like also I just don't like the format. I didn't like very much. So yeah, I mean, thought some of the rules like were restrictive. Like if you don't know when you're playing until 4 days before you play,
that's
then
the toughest.
top players can't. They don't know, and then you're signing them and taking up somebody else's spot, but you don't know if they can actually play. There's so many instances like that, and
but it's reasonable from their end, like from the players' end.
Oh, from the players' end, it's fine, but if they don't play, they shouldn't count for a spot.
Yes.
Like you should be able to add some more people, and then they keep changing. If you notice all the time, the geography rules. Sometimes they want you to represent your country or city. Sometimes you don't, and they keep flip flopping. Yeah, because you can just like not have Canadian players.
Yep.
Because most Canadian players aren't good at chess, relative to like a top end league with the top European and Asian players. Like,
yeah, the same reading.
Just less experience. We don't have rapid events in Canada. We just way less experience and level, just straight up. I think experience matters too, but like, yeah. So it's like could just do away with all those things, but it's a bit of a balance because you also want to invest in young players and give them an opportunity and a platform. So.
Yeah, it's hard to take those risks with only 5 rounds as well.
Yeah, with 5 rounds, it's tricky. Like, I would have loved for Pranav to have played. And if the rules were different, I definitely would have. And if I were to do it again, I would have switched things around. But I don't know people's availability before the season. Because the lineup with, at the beginning of the year, Razvan did really well. Yep. So if I have Anish, Magnus, and Razvan playing like a 2600, which he was, and people are thinking, oh, that's an amazing lineup. It just never was played.
Yeah.
Because Razvan can beat 2600s, and he's done that in classical and in rapid recently. And then Miley is board 4. She scored upsets. So there's a lot of like people speaking in hindsight right now when like it's just like some lineups, the scheduling didn't work out and the organization didn't work out. But like originally people were saying Razvan this or Miley that, and then you add in Anish and Magnus, and that's a pretty good lineup. It's a better lineup than the Blitz on the top. So I would say if you ask me to look at that lineup, Magnus is an advantage on board 1.
Yep.
And Anish is an advantage on board 2.
I think Anish is super strong.
He's top. He finished top 5 in the World Blitz and Rapid, higher than Grishuk in both events.
Yeah.
They're both really good, but Anish is actually peaking.
He really is lately
in his Rapid and Speed chess. We are favored on the top 2 boards, and Razvan is can easily play 25, 50 levels. So let's say that's a push in my eyes. Because he's been performing that level for a while. Like
and at the start of the PCL, he simply was playing at that level.
2600. So. And then on board 4, we're at a big disadvantage. Huge. But Miley scored some upsets. But I'm willing to. But that's she's the Canadian champion. She's getting better.
Yeah.
Canadian women's champion. Happy to support that. And also she's like.
She's also studying chess. Like she's literally in school for.
So if you look at this lineup with our planned lineup, it should be a very competitive match, and this is the highest rated team in the league. So like people like looking at roster construction. Yeah, if we have a 2550 on board 4, then we're the hands-on favorite, bar none. Yeah. But there aren't that many women rated that range, and not many that were willing to play, and not many that were available. If it was a must roster, it's one thing. But also giving people an opportunity to play was another consideration. But there weren't like ones on standby.
It just comes down to how people play as well. Like, there's an element that no one can control except the players.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put the strongest lineup on paper, but people just aren't playing well. Like the Blitz. the only reason we even played them is because MVL and Grishuk were just not having good weeks. Like, they were really underperforming. Maybe other players as well, but okay, for board 1 and 2, like, they weren't scoring 3 or 3.5 every week where they'd probably be winning those matches.
The Gillionaire, I mean, I don't know if you watch women's chess. There aren't many 25-50 women in the world. There's like 10, maybe less. And some of them don't play online. Some of them are playing with their husbands. Some of them are just hard to reach or busy playing the European Championships.
Or they've played for other teams before.
Like Katerina Lano is one of the best. She's been one of the top women in the world for like 10 years, 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
And she specializes in rapid and blitz. She was the European champion. And some people have connections for that. So.
Yeah, I think if you can use that woman counts as 2350 to your advantage, obviously you can maximize that, but to really take advantage of that, there's probably less than 5 women that really
yeah, people
really
should
benefit.
Look at the FIDE list and really check and see what's available. In terms of 25-50 women, that's just, I don't think they know what it's like. Lano's a specialist. Kosteniuk is a specialist.
Yep.
They were the first players grabbed by their teams. They're involved in the organization.
Mm-hmm. Juwenjun, Gunina, but I mean, these are like
those
like
are
top
three of the
women
top 5, top women
in
absolute
the whole
top women
world.
in the world. Yeah. So.
I mean, you got who you found to play for our team before, but that's that's not something that just happens every season.
I mean, you can there's no good rapid and blitz players in North America from the women's side relative to Europe. Like all the top players are European. Like Canada, in terms of the women's side, the U.S. Alice Lee did amazing, so she has the best performance by far, and I don't know much about her. But like the 2400s in North America, like, you know, if you play Title Twos, they play these events. You see Goryachkina, you see Gunina, Kosteniuk. You're not seeing NA like females finishing near the top. We don't have the tournaments. It's not their fault. We don't have the tournaments and experience or the rating. But there's really a very limited pool unless you're in Eastern Europe or like in India. Like that's literally where there's none in South America, none in North America, none in Africa. Yeah, there's so many zero that would be, if the goal is just to like ignore everything and just like go for the highest rating cap without anything, it's like, you know, but it's still very limited. Alice Lee is amazing. I never heard of her, but
but like she's not even like doing something for the rating cap.
Exactly.
That's just a young player. You give him a platform and she's just seizing it. You don't really know ahead of time that she's going to be like total steal.
Yeah. I think those conversations are more like, I mean, losing in the playoffs to a team where you feel overpowered, but making it to the playoffs, I mean, the roster is certainly not the only issue because we lost to teams lower rated than us multiple times.
For sure. I would say there's usually a feeling when I'm commentating of like games that I feel we got lucky in and games I feel we got unlucky in. And the amount of games that I felt that bad feeling of like, oh, we should have drawn that or we should have won that was so much higher. I can only think of like, you know, a Wonders game. That's like one that comes to mind where Magnus didn't deserve the result he got. But I can't think of many other opportunities in any of our matches where I'm like, holy smokes, we really swindled that, or that was so impressive. And Sean just gave me another one right there. I was like, wow. And I realized I haven't felt that too often, but the amount of points that we've left on the table on all boards here and there really adds up. And I feel like that's a really telltale sign.
That's classical rating, Joe. Like, she's not good at Blitz and Rapid. And I guess we beat that team.
Oh, Irina Crush?
Yeah. I mean, just relatively, she's just not.
Yeah, she did play.
She did play Charlotte, and that's Jennifer's only half point of the year.
That's right.
she's okay, but like I've played the Eastern European women in Rapid and Blitz, and they're super strong. Like they're different. Actually like you can tell over the board, like they just kick the shit out of you. Like they're really
literally
they're really good. Kostania, like they're aggressive, really good. Like play bad positions well. They have so many tournaments in Russia and in that area that are Rapid. Mm-hmm. Rapid's a very popular format over there, and yeah, but that's not the only aspect. So yeah. I mean, why no Anthony? Lolly, I mean...
But Anthony's, he's pretty much... I would say he's worth his rating. Like, 20, Anthony's an exciting
22,
player.
2300, like, he's going to beat a bunch of GMs. I mean, if the league had a different format, I'd love to roster Anthony.
Yeah, like more spots or more weeks, more matches.
But I don't think people know how strong the PCL teams are. It's 2500s can get eaten.
Yeah, and in case you don't know the format, Lally, every roster has to include a woman. So you can't just like sub people out here and there. A lot of people are like, why isn't Mon on the team? Like, I'd be scoring worse than Sean. Like, I'm not a specialist here as well. So maybe some people are memeing, but I feel like a lot of people are serious. Like, they see bad performance. They see bad performance from someone. They're like, oh, but why weren't you there instead? Like Razvan has a bad week or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, why aren't you there instead? It's like, okay. I'm lower rated than Razvan, not working on chess like Razvan. Well, not working on chess at all. So I'm more of like a last resort, and I really mean last. I don't think I would be scoring better than a lot of the players that have had bad weeks in the PCL.
You like that comment, Dustin. Yeah, no, I mean, Amon was offered to play, but it's a super competitive league, and there's no reason, unless Amon's feeling good or training, to expect the players playing are like Jennifer's in university, but I get the feeling she doesn't have a lot of time for chess. Miley's like on a chess scholarship, studying a bit more, playing a bit more.
Yeah,
like a lot of the players are pro that are in the league, like they're full-time chess players. Jordan, like you can just tell. Yeah, Yvonne, like the players were playing. The women were playing the 2550s are the top females in the world, so they're playing all the time. So like rating is definitely not everything. So that better argument than even rating is just like form and like online ability and some intangibles there. Because classical ratings can not sometimes just be not too indicative. But yeah, most of the top Blitz and Rapid specialists were snatched up.
Mm-hmm. Not much to do about that.
I definitely wasn't happy with some aspects of the roster, and there's things I'd change, but not making the playoffs, I don't think is the main reason. They're playing the Blitz in an elimination game. Like, we could have our best lineup and lose. Like,
for sure, yeah.
Like, it's one of those things. It's some of the other matches, the one I did poorly in, the Indian collapse, there's some other, just last week. I mean, last week, for example, if we have Anish in the lineup and the lineup that was planned, I don't see how we're not clear favorites. Because last
week's team? Like,
we played the Levitov Chess Wizards.
Oh, yeah.
But
not their best lineup.
Not their best lineup because they're playing the European Championships. I don't know, people didn't look. If you look at the Levitov Chess Wizards, they did not field. They didn't even field anybody over 2,700.
Yeah.
We are huge favorites last week with a 2-1 score with our optimal lineup.
Yeah. No, their lineup was very soft.
because they couldn't field their best team, and so like okay, we lost that for various reasons, but it was just an underperformance. Yeah. First and foremost. Who was their board for? They had Shimonov, they had Lazovic, they had Dubov, and then their women's player was not like super strong, right? Was it Gunina? Like
it was must have.
It was Gunina?
Or no, it was Castenia. I'm pretty sure.
It was Costenia.
Yeah, it was Costenia.
Yeah. But we had a chance. No, Costenia.
She won some nice games.
Costenia was board 3.
She was board 3, and Lazovic was 4.
So like I guess they didn't field up top. So if we have a niche, in Magnus, we have 2 boards that were clear favorites in.
Yeah, well, basically Anish and Magnus are like favorites to win every game.
Yeah.
You know, in the
and
sense.
Then they do have Kosteniuk as a big favorite on our last board, but we're clear favorites with that lineup. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, they had a 4G.
Jordan did well, so it wasn't. If we fielded Anish, maybe we still lose the match because Jordan did great. But it just depends on how people perform on a given day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Hello, Dr. O, Airbus driver. Yeah, sadly, I think the lowest rating, there's also a rule which basically doesn't seem to affect anyone, but the lowest rating is 2200, right?
Yeah.
So Dr. O wouldn't have wouldn't have been value. Dr. O in the lineup. Yeah, Lazovic on board 4 is something else. That team's really strong. We played definitely some of the strongest teams, I think. Wizards and Blitz, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, even the matches where we were maybe favorites didn't go well. It was like bad vibes after the Yogis loss, you know? Just like it was in the air. Something was off. This looks like a name change or something.
Which guy?
27 is a risky business. I don't recognize the risky business.
I do, but not a big chatter.
Yeah, not a big chatter. I like the name. Zarisky business. That's unfortunate. No more PCL matches. No more Magnus playing PCL. Well, we have a delay, so this is always read a comment 60 seconds later, then the reply comes. Yeah. So it's always weird. Yeah, Musichuk sisters, but I mean, these are like top 10 women in the world.
Also, they're not playing Russians, I believe.
Yeah, there's so many layers.
There's a lot of Russians in the Pro Chess League.
Yeah.
Like, again, like...
So many layers to it.
People can all, you know, like... there's not like a large market available right now of like 2,500 women that just didn't play because nobody invited them. And anyways, you know, I like some of Jennifer's positions, and my league got some opportunities, so...
That's the thing. It comes down to execution.
Five rounds is super short if you actually want to experiment. If you're just like, okay, we just like have to go for rating and just go for that. But it'd be nice if you have time to like adjust and set things in motion, try lineups out and get some data. But the schedule didn't allow that. It was too short and it was too last minute to even get the adjustments that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
We can restart the stream, yeah. You're
No, I was probably gonna wrap it up. and maybe stream after. I just don't think there's like enough time.
Yeah, the event's at 7. If you're down to go still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I would do something else.
Okay. The moment. Okay. Then I could maybe restart. I could do a bit before we go. Maybe do a couple hours and then get ready to go there.
Yeah, I just need the computer.
Oh, that's fine.
I just want to work with Jeff on
that's good. No, that's
things
good.
for
I can
the
do it
stream.
from the office, right?
Okay.
So that's fine.
That's perfect.
If you guys can get a chat over there, that'd be really good.
Yes, that's one of the things we want to get.
No, if you have stuff to do, so, then that's perfectly fine. Yeah. Okay.
We can end off and switch to a no delay stream, which I'm sure would be appreciated. Yep. I always find delays super weird.
Yep.
Let me know when you're ready, buddy, and we can swap. But I think we will be continuing a few of this series that I've been doing, guys. So like the habits and the Stonewall. But I want to work on a few things, some overlays to make the streams better. It looks like we'll keep streaming from downstairs. Dr. Lord Mayonnaise is willing to give 5 subs if Eric hits 2,800 FIDE. That's the same amount of subs you gift Wave High to Jeff, Dr. Lord. 2 similar occurrences, eh? Just as common. Akavan, thanks for the 25 months. Again, Champ and MapRail, thanks so much, guys. Supporting the PCL, same for you, Tim Cannon. Always coming in with the donos and the energy early on. Hope the best for Purdue there, buddy. So you can at least get a dub today. Socratic Chess, thanks for 21 months with Prime. Brienne, Liv Callow, 26 months. Trouble with Chess. Ace, thank you for the bits. When's the next time it's manage it? Could be as early as tomorrow. That's probably a plan. So I'd say tomorrow. Just want to get our next graphics ready, right? So we're on probably to a new level, which is exciting. Get to actually use tactics for once. So we're not gonna quite get a raid off, but we're basically gonna raid ourselves. Eric's gonna start a stream. There won't be any delay on that one. And we'll keep the show going for a couple hours. So we are gonna need to restart, so hang on. Yeah, I don't really have any regrets. People can say what they want about the performances, and I think that's all justified, you know? People deserve praise and criticism for how they perform on given days, but ultimately, not too upset. There were a lot of points on the table to be grabbed, and I just don't think we were performing at a level that would have taken us very far in the playoffs, sadly, even if we did make it. Yeah, Sean's last game was pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. Pretty fun to look at. I can't believe he saved it. That was remarkably resourceful. haven't left yet. I'm still here. What could have been the best lineup with Magnus and Anish? I think that was the Magnus, Kiri, Razvan, and was it Mai Li? I think that was the one. I just realized, like, when Eric joined, I didn't. I stopped listening to music, but I realized I left it on for you guys. Obviously, I realized I could put these back on. Woo Team 90. Is that the most timely resub of all time? Woo Team. Woo Team. Joe Dorbin, I'm not even going to grace you by opening up that conversation again. I think we've answered that exact question. But Anish only played one match, and we could never get Anish and Magnus to play at the same time, so there wasn't as much value in having those guys both on the same team as maybe we initially wanted or expected. So that was a little unfortunate, but it happens. As I said, the PCL is not like the World Championship. People aren't like, clearing their schedules to play matches when you only find out your match time and date like 3 days ahead of it happening. So, that's just tough. It's like, hey, can you play in 3 days? The answer is not always yes. That's the main determining factor about who plays, not who's on your roster. If it got to the point where people are on salaries like in pro sports, $1 million a year salaries, multi-million-dollar a year salaries, then I get it. If you want someone to play, it's like, hey, what else are you doing? You're on a huge salary that we're paying you. You're gonna shut the hell up and play. Of course you are. But that's not the case. Gotta get some more subs for those multi-million guaranteed contracts. Yeah, okay. Well, I've got the go-ahead, guys. I'm going to say goodbye. Take care from me. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow for another stream. Probably around midday or something. So see you guys tomorrow. Right now, I'm going to pass it over to Eric. I'm going to turn the stream off. As soon as it ends, restart. Bye for now, guys. Sucks about the PCL result. RIP. But keep the good vibes here and keep the stream on. So don't go anywhere. Just refresh when the stream ends.